Hello everyone, just give me 1 second here. I'm just trying to see if this is working. Give me 1 minute here, guys. Hold on a minute here, folks. Just gonna try and get some things ready here, and it looks like we are live. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another live NHL end-to-end hockey play-by-play. Today, we have a very interesting game, once again, just like our last one, another potential elimination game as the Minnesota Wild, who are currently up 3-2 in their series against the Dallas Stars, have a chance to end their postseason playoff series winning drought as they look to win the series in 6 games on home ice and advance to the second round for the first time in 12 seasons. Well, for the Dallas Stars, they look to send it back to Game 7 on home ice with a win tonight on Saturday. So that's going to be very interesting. I'm going to be with you guys for the next couple of hours here as we are going to be doing another live stream. Once again, just give me a couple seconds here. I've got a couple of things I just really quickly need to check, make sure the stream is up and running correctly, and then we will be live and I'll be able to talk with all of you guys. Once again, you're not missing anything. The first puck drop will probably be in about 5 to 10 minutes, so not missing anything. So once again, just give me a couple minutes here, guys. Let's see if I can get this up and running. Let's see, here we are. And let's see, let's put that over here. Just give me a couple minutes here, guys, so I can get some things worked out, and then we should be good to go. Let's see, put that here and post, and that's good. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Like I just mentioned, we are back here with another live NHL play-by-play. Today we have Stars versus Wild, so this could potentially be the last game of the series. Once again, I predicted the Minnesota Wild to win this series in 6 games. So if the Minnesota Wild win tonight, my prediction will be spot on. But we do have Wild Stars here. There are only 2 games today. So the first one is Wild Stars, which is the one we're going to be doing here. The Wild are going to be looking for their first playoff series win in 12 years. It has been a long time, decade plus, since the Minnesota Wild have made it to round 2, and they're going to be looking to do that here today. Well, the Dallas Stars are going to be looking to pull this series back to a Game 7 on Saturday in Dallas to see if they can still have a shot to advance to round 2. So once again, it's going to be a very interesting game. I think both teams are going to have a really good shot. I personally do expect Minnesota to come out on top here. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Down in the chat, who do you think wins this game? Is it the Wild? Is it the Stars? The series so far has gone like this. The Wild won game 1. It was a dominant effort in Dallas. They took them down 6-1. That was able to get the Wild a 1-0 series lead. But then back-to-back wins happened for the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars wound up winning game 2, which it was in regulation 4-2. And then game 3 in double overtime 3-2, or 4-3 actually, in Minnesota. So they were able to take a win over the Wild. Then the Wild were able to win in Minnesota to even up the series at 2 apiece, with a 3-2 overtime win just a couple of nights ago, thanks to Matt Boldy. And then the Minnesota Wild will take the last game that happened back on Tuesday 4-2 to now have a chance to end the series. So this is going to be very interesting. I expect the Minnesota Wild to win this series. So let's just really quickly go over here. Once again, I don't think you guys have missed anything as the game has yet to start. We should be in anthems right now or just before that. We are currently in commercial break, so you're not missing anything. So we'll be waiting here for the next about 5-ish minutes, and then we'll be starting game 6 between the Wild and the Stars. So this is going to be a very interesting game. I do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I thank you for that. Once again, I'll be with you here for the next little bit. Future live streams, I do have a 5 p.m. Mountain Time start for tomorrow. I'm doing a live stream between the Bolts and the Habs, that game 6. So that's going to be a very interesting one. I expect that one to be a very interesting game tomorrow. So I'm going to be doing a live stream there. And then we'll see what happens on the weekend. Currently don't know if there's any Currently, there are no confirmed Game 7s, so I'm not going to make any sort of schedules unless I know if/when there are going to be Game 7s on the weekend. If there's one on Saturday and one of these series do go to a Game 7, I'm going to try and hit that one. Once again, Sunday's a really busy day for me usually because of church and other errands that I usually run on Sunday, so I don't know when I'd be back to be able to do a live stream on Sunday, so I'm not going to make any promises for any sort of Game 7s on Sunday, but if I'm able to get back and be able to set up the recording studio in time for a Game 7 that happens on Sunday. If there's a Game 7 that happens on Sunday, then I will try to. But I'm not going to make any promises about any games sevens that potentially happen on Sunday. And once again, I'll try on a game 7 on a Saturday if there is one. But we'll have to wait and see how these next 2 days go before we even see if there is any possibility of a game 7. So that's going to be very interesting. I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. You are not missing anything. We do have one more game today, and that's going to be later tonight because the Edmonton Oilers are playing the Anaheim Ducks at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. So that one's going to be getting started just around the time this one's going to be finishing up, barring that this one does not go to overtime. That's going to be an interesting one. Ducks are trying to advance and eliminate the Edmonton Oilers, and the Edmonton Oilers are going to try and force a Game 7 on Saturday in Edmonton. So that's going to be a very interesting one. I'm expecting Anaheim to come out firing after they got blown out in the last game, and I'm expecting a Dostal dominance performance in that game later tonight. I think Dostal is going to put up some very good numbers. We've seen in the past couple of weeks when a star goaltender has been pulled in the playoffs, they bounce back extremely well. Andre in this series, after he got pulled in that blowout against Minnesota, he bounced back really well and helped the Stars win Game 2. One was a couple days ago, Boston-Buffalo, Game 5, I want to say it was. Swayman got absolutely lit up. It was Game 4. He got absolutely lit up. He comes back and he helps the Bruins extend the series in Game 5. So with Dostal being pulled in the last game, I'm expecting Dostal to have his best performance of the entire series in this game later tonight. And I do think that Dostal is going to be able to help the Ducks get to round 2. So I'm expecting Ducks and Wild to end their series tonight. I wouldn't be surprised, given their track record, if the Stars or the Oilers forced a Game 7. But I'm expecting Wild and the Ducks to end their series tonight and to advance to round 2, which I will be all for, because you know what? I don't like the Oilers overly particular much. I'm a Knights fan. I'm a Kraken fan. So I don't like the Oilers that much, and I would love to see them be eliminated. Stars, they've had some really good things. No offense. I don't not like the Stars. They're all right. But I like to see teams who have not had much success over the past couple of years have success. And the Wild are the epitome of a team who has not had a ton of success over the past couple of years. They've had regular season success, but they have not had postseason success. So I'm really hoping that the Wild and the Ducks end it here and they don't have to go to a very sweaty Game 7 on Saturday. Both teams will be on the road in those series too. So I'm hoping that both these teams come with their A games tonight and just end the series here now. Wild will go to face the Avalanche and Ducks will go to face the winner of the Knights and Mammoth series. So those will be very interesting series. I'll let you guys thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think the scorelines for today's 2 games will be? Do the Ducks or the Oilers win tonight? Do the Stars or the Wild win tonight? You're not missing anything. They're just getting ready for anthems. So you're not missing anything. Like we said, we are doing another live stream tomorrow at 5 p.m. Mountain Time for the Habs and the Bolts game, Game 6. So that's going to be very interesting. There are 3 games that are going to be happening tomorrow, 3 Game 6s. That is Habs Bolts Game 6. That is Sabres Bruins Game 6. And that is Mammoth Knights Game 6 in Utah, in Boston, and in Montreal. So we should wait and see how those games go tomorrow. Once again, I will be doing the Habs Bolts live stream. So I do appreciate that. I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. If you are here, once again, leave a chat on what you think the scorelines will be for tonight's games. To this one here between the Stars and the Wild, and the one later tonight between the Oilers and the Ducks. Would love to hear your thoughts. I do think that the Wild and the Ducks will both win those games. They're just doing the anthems right now, so you are not missing a thing. Once again, I will be having some videos out later today. I was trying to get them posted before the live stream, but I was just not able to. I have a fan reaction that should be coming out shortly after the live stream. I have a game recap that should be coming out shortly after the live stream, and I have updated power rankings that should also be coming out right after the live stream. So I do hope you guys all tune in for those videos. I should be having them uploaded probably a couple of hours after the live stream, so we'll see. Once again, you're not missing anything. They are just in anthems right now. They're just doing the anthems. So you're not missing anything. I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. I do apologize also for any background noise. I live with my family, so I have a couple of younger siblings that are occasionally loud, so I do apologize for any sort of background noise. But we are getting started here very, very shortly between the Stars and the Wild, so that's going to be a very interesting game. Once again, I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Once again, they're just doing anthems, so you're not missing anything. This is the only earlier game tonight. We'll have a later game between Oilers and Ducks, and once again, the Ducks and the Wild will both have shots to advance to round 2 tonight, and I do think they will. Last night we still had some very interesting games, which we'll touch on at intermission. And I'll touch on a couple of other stats that I found very interesting that I want to share with you guys at intermission as well. So we'll touch on that there, but it looks like we're about to get underway here. Let's set up the screen. Hold on a minute here, guys. It looks like Marc-Andre Fleury is in the Wild building for this game. Remember, Fleury was a big part of the Wild over the past couple of years. Once again, he's the second most winningest goaltender in NHL history, and he played with the Wild for a couple of seasons. So we'll see how him being in there is going to be helping the Minnesota Wild. So we shall wait and see. Once again, this is Minnesota's trying to advance to round 2 for the first time in 12 seasons. It has been over a decade since the Minnesota Wild have been able to play second round playoff hockey. And the Wild are also my Stanley Cup favorites. So I am really hoping that the Wild are able to show up here, get a huge win on home ice, and send this series back to Colorado, send this series home, and wind up going to Colorado to face the Avalanche next week. And we are underway here. The Dallas Stars open the possession with the puck. Lyubushkin passes it, and he's going to dump it into the Wild zone. Wallstead has it below the goal line, passes it around the boards. Johnston intercepts. Stars keep it in the zone, and Eriksson is able to get it out for the Minnesota Wild. Stars are able to bring it back in the zone, battling for it along the boards. Minnesota trying to get it out, and Eriksson can't. Johnston keeps it in. Johnston looking around, shoots, and it's blocked in front, and Bork can't get a stick on it. Faber's got it below goal line, and he's going to run around the boards for Matt Boldy, and here come the Wild potentially 3-on-2. Boldy just dumps it in, and the Wild go after chasing. Onger chips it around the boards, trying to get it to one of his teammates. Can't. The puck does go back around to Lindell, and now Lyubushkin trying to find some sort of passing lane, gets it to Lindell, and Lindell gets it back to behind the goal line to Lyubushkin. Eriksson with a huge check on Lyubushkin, but Lyubushkin does get the puck to Robertson. Robertson gets it to Duchesne, and the puck goes just into the Minnesota Wild zone. Remember, Minnesota is without Jonas Brodin tonight, so that's a big blow on their blue line. Here comes Minnesota. They're into the offensive zone. And they get across. Here comes Kaprizov around the net, trying to get a center feed. He can't, but the puck is kept in. Here come Minnesota. At the point, Johansson a shot, and that one just goes wide. Hartman's got it. Hartman into Zuccarello. Zuccarello trying to find some sort of passing lane. He gets to the cross, gets to the point. Middleton's shot was blocked. Dallas gets it, and they chip it out a little bit too far for a stretch feed, and Minnesota is able to get back in the neutral zone. Minnesota brings it back into the offensive zone. Zuccarello trying to get across, pass a little bit too far for Zuccarello, and Dallas is able to regain possession in the defensive zone. Haskins got it, dumps it into the Wild zone where the Wild are able to recover. Here's Brock Faber. Faber across to the other side to Trenin, who gets it deep for the Minnesota Wild. Tarasenko goes chasing after it. Dallas gets it. And here come the Stars into the offensive zone, chipped in by, I think that's Ritskovian, and the Dallas Stars are going to fight for the puck in the corner. Dallas is able to hit one of them off the puck, keep possession. Once again, they're fighting for it along the boards, but Minnesota is able to come away with it. Trenton trying to break free, but cannot, and Dallas is able to recover possession in their own zone. Here come the Dallas Stars. Petrovic loses the puck, and Minnesota is able to regain possession in their own zone as they wait up, as they are going to try and get something started here from their own zone. Quinn Hughes gets out of his own zone to the neutral zone and dumps it in, gets it to, I think that's Marcus Foligno trying to center, can't. Wild do keep possession for a couple of seconds, and now it looks like it deflects and goes out of play. No shots, no goals, and we are just here in the first period. 17-15 left in the first, and it looks like there'll be an offensive zone face-off draw here for the Minnesota Wild. So once again, they're just showing some of the stats. Onger, really good save percentage, goals against, not terrible, but not great either. He's got 2-3 records, so he's been all right. The Wild are losing the face-off draw, and here comes Dallas, here, potential 3-on-2. Nice pass across, and they shoot. Wallstead with a nice save. And now here comes at the point, I think that's Bach trying to get around, or it's Blackwell, sorry, to Bach, trying to get it back in the offensive zone for Dallas, and they are able to. Dallas holds the line, and it looks like they weren't able to hold the line. It's offside, and there'll be a neutral zone face-off draw here between Dallas and Minnesota, 3 minutes and 7 seconds into the first period. So Very interesting note there. Thank you guys for joining in. If you guys are just tuning in, we are just a couple of minutes into Dallas and Minnesota playing Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final first round series. Minnesota trying to advance to the second round for the first time in a long time. So very interesting to note there. Let's see here. The Minnesota Wild are able to win it. And here come the Minnesota Wild. Let's see here. And they dump it down. Harley tries to get it around the boards. Johansson trying to feed it, and he is able to around the boards, but it takes deflection and goes out of play. So once again, 16:41 left in the first period. It was currently a scoreless game. So interesting to note there. Good start, good pace for both sides, but still scoreless a couple of minutes into the first period. I expect this one to be a very close game, but I'm really hoping for this Minnesota Wild team to win. Offensive face-off draw here for the Wild, and they are able to keep possession. Boldy gets it to Hughes. Hughes loses it, but Johansson is able to get it back to Hughes. Hughes gets it to the point, but Faber can't hold the line, and they have to go back out and tag. Here's Boldy. Boldy dumps it in. Boldy, and Harley loses an edge. Heiskanen has to go after it, and he's being pressured by a couple of Wild players, and the Wild are able to keep the zone for a second. Hughes spinning around at the point, shoots one, and it goes off of Onger and wide. Nice stop there from Jake Onger. Minnesota keeps the line. Boldy trying to go after against 3 Stars players is not able to, and Dallas does get the puck out. Nice play there from Dallas, but here comes Quinn Hughes into the offensive zone, trying to weave his way around, centers it for Kaprizov, who has to backhand it to no one, and Dallas is able to get the puck back and to get into the neutral zone. Bork tips it in, and Dallas goes off for a change. Spurgeon's got it now. Spurgeon back to Quinn Hughes, and Hughes loses the puck, and Dallas is able to gain possession in the offensive zone. Dallas trying to go for it, and the Minnesota Wild are able to get the puck out. Small move there from Minnesota. And now the puck goes back into the Minnesota zone as Minnesota regroups. And now a nice stretch feed from Hughes to Kaprizov. Kaprizov chasing after the puck. Lindell's got it. He hits Lindell. Pretty dang good hit. But the Stars do get it, and they are able to get it out of the zone. Dallas into the neutral zone. Here come the Stars. Gets it to Rantanen. Rantanen across, and the puck is intercepted, and Dallas is able to get it back. Bushkin gets it. Tries to get it to Rantanen, and he is able to. Rantanen back to the point. Here is Petrovic. Petrovic gets it back, and it's intercepted by Minnesota, and maybe a little bit of a break here for the Wild. They dump it into the neutral zone, and Onger's going to glove it and hold on with 5:09 left gone in the first period, and a scoreless game here between the Wild and the Dallas Stars. So very interesting note there. Once again, they're just showing some of the highlights. Quinn Hughes, some really good skating. Once again, put a puck on net. Nice save from Jake Ottinger. Once again, Hughes is trying to will the Wild to the second round. Remember, Quinn Hughes has made it to the second round before a couple of years ago with the Vancouver Canucks. So he knows what it takes to try and get it to a series across the finish line. Once again, he's had 7 games with a goal and 4 assists for 5 points. So Hughes has been very productive for the Minnesota Wild. So let's see how things are going. Once again, shots are 1 apiece, and there's been no goals scored so far. If you can, leave a chat, leave a comment down below. Love to hear your thoughts, what you think will be the final scoreline in this game and the game that we're having later tonight. Let's see here. So the Dallas Stars lose the draw. Minnesota off the draw, and they are not able to get it on Onger. Minnesota does keep the line for a second, just beside Onger, trying to fight for the puck, and Minnesota is not able to get there. Now McCarron does. Gets it to Trennan. Trennan gets it back to McCarron. McCarron fighting for it. He is taken down by Petrovic. And now here comes Tarasenko. Tarasenko gets it back to Trennan. Trennan gets it back to Tarasenko. Once again, nice forecheck here for Minnesota as McCarron is able to take it back. The Wild are trying to fight for it again, and they get it back to McCarron below the goal line. McCarron trying to fight for it, puts it on goal. I think that was off the side of the net. Minnesota does keep it for a second, but now Dallas is able to recover possession, and Petrovic is going to reset some things from the Dallas Stars' own zone. 14 minutes left in the first period, and was a scoreless first period so far. Petrovic behind his own net is going to start some things out, passes over to Heiskanen. Heiskanen dumps it into the Minnesota Wild zone, right on Wallstead, who plays the puck. Quinn Hughes gets it back to Faber, and Faber is going to try a stretch feed, gets it to Sturm, who gets it back to Hughes, and Hughes gets into the offensive zone. Here comes Hughes, who receives the puck again. Hughes, wing, shoots, scores! Hughes! Let's go! Minnesota! Minnesota's up 1-0. Quinn Hughes with a bullet of a shot that may have taken a deflection in front. Minnesota is buzzing, and the Quinn Hughes just giving the Minnesota Wild a 1-0 lead. Let's go! Quinn Hughes with a beauty. He knows what it takes to get a team past the first round. He did it with the Vancouver Canucks, and now he's trying to do it with Minnesota. Quinn Hughes with a beautiful shot. Onger never saw it. There was too many bodies in front, and a bullet of a shot. I think that might have actually taken the deflection off of Radek Faksa, and it might have taken a deflection off of a Stars player, but either way, Quinn Hughes opens the scoring, and the Minnesota Wild are up 1-0. Let's change this over here. Hold on a minute here, guys. Let's change this to 1 for the Minnesota Wild. That's lovely. Fantastic. Wild are up 1-0 and they have possession of the puck in the defensive zone. Here comes Minnesota, potentially another 3-on-2 break. Here comes Minnesota. Nice play from Boldy. Switching and turning. Gets it back. Here's Spurgeon with a shot. That one, I think, took a deflection and went wide. Boldy is able to hold the zone for a time being. Boldy gets it back to the point. Spurgeon shoots. Stopped, and Johansson had a little bit of an open space, but he wasn't able to get to the puck. Dallas has it in the neutral zone. Taking it in is Robertson. Robertson is knocked off the puck, and the Minnesota Wild are able to get there. Middleton. And here come the Minnesota Wild. They get it back. They just chip it in. They were at the end of the line change, and Dallas is going to reset in their own zone. Ilya Bushkin has it right beside Jake Onger, and he passes it back to his Z partner, which I think that's Miro Heiskanen. And the Stars are able to send it up. And Minnesota in their own zone trying to get it, and they are not able to. Quinn Hughes fighting for it along the boards. The Stars do get it, but the pass is not being able to connect, and Harley has to go back into his own zone to get the puck. Passes it off the boards to Rantanen, and now a nice pass over there to, I think that's called, no, it's Matt Duchesne. Duchesne behind the goal line trying to get a pass across, and he does. Rantanen's got it. Rantanen to Heiskanen. Heiskanen walking in, shoots, it goes wide. Rantanen trying to poke it home, but he can't get a stick on the puck. And Minnesota is able to get it, the puck, and here comes Quinn Hughes, potentially a 2-on-1, but he found on the pass. Hughes does bring it to the offensive zone, but it's offside, and there'll be a neutral zone face-off draw just outside the Dallas Stars blue line with just over 12 minutes to go in the first period. Minnesota up 1-0 thanks to a goal from in-season acquisition and now all-time points leader in a single season by a defenseman in Minnesota Wild history, Quinn Hughes. So very interesting out there. You're not missing anything. We're currently in a commercial break, so I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. And I do thank you guys all for that. Once again, solid start here for the Minnesota Wild, up 1-0 on the Dallas Stars. So very interesting to note there. Really good stuff so far from Minnesota. I do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Once again, if you can, leave a like, leave a comment, chat down below what you guys think will be the scorelines for this game and for the Edmonton-Anaheim game. I do appreciate it, and I hope that you guys are all having a very good day. So very interesting to note there. We'll get to a couple of the other things in a minute here, guys. Once again, I do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. So once again, thank you for everything. Just give me a second here, guys. Let me see something here. Let me see if that seems good. Okay, so we're good there. Hold on a minute here, guys. We're just going to go back, and that seems good. Okay, so we are still live. Once again, if you're just joining us, Quinn Hughes scored about 5 minutes into the game. That's given the Minnesota Wild their opening 1-0 lead. So very interesting to note there. Once again, the Minnesota Wild are definitely going to try and end this series tonight. We saw a very interesting elimination game last night between the Pennsylvania teams. We'll touch on how that game went at intermission. So I hope you guys tune in for the intermission report and for a couple of interesting stats I found about 3-2 series. Once again, you're not missing anything. We are currently on a commercial break. So I do appreciate that. Once again, you're not missing anything. And let's see here. Once again, we're back here. Once again, there'll be a neutral zone face-off draw here. Let's see. Playoffs last 60 years. Yeah, okay. So once again, the power play percentage for Dallas against Minnesota Wild has been utterly insane. So, once again, I think they're running at a 69% power play unit, which is absolutely absurd. So, very interesting note there. Dallas wins the draw. They have in the offensive zone. Ben, He gets the puck, passes it along to one of his blue liners. I think that's Petrovic. Actually, it's Harley. It tries to center one, cannot. Minnesota's able to get it out. So solid move there from the Minnesota Wild. Dallas is able to get it now. Dallas, Heiskanen dumps it in. And Heiskanen is going to get the puck to, I think that's Jamie Benn. Benn gets it back to Heiskanen. Heiskanen loses at the point. Minnesota trying to get some sort of a stretch feed, cannot, but the Wild do gain possession and bring it into the offensive zone. Dallas is able to regain possession. Miro Heiskanen is going to stop up in his own zone. Benn a little bit slow to get to the bench. Heiskanen is going to pass it to Bork, but it's intercepted by one of the Minnesota players. Maybe a little break here. Foligno looking in. Oh, what a stop from Jake Ottinger. He lost his stick and was somehow able to make that stop. Dallas is able to get in, and Wallstedt stops it. Foligno had a chance, and he just could not put it home. Oh, my gosh. Minnesota had a great opportunity. Let's just see here. Yeah, it was an interception, 2-on-1, and Onger just took out Foligno. What a stop from Jake Onger. As Foligno, he needed to shoot that puck. He tried to make a little bit of a deke, and Onger knew exactly what to do. And he put a two-pad stack and then took out Foligno's legs out from under him. So interesting note there. Great stop from Onger. At this point, you cannot go down 2-0 early in the first period if you are the Dallas Stars. So good try there for Marcus Foligno, but the Minnesota Wild are still holding on to a 1-0 lead at this current point in time. And now an offensive zone face-off draw here for the Dallas Stars. Johnston wins it. And the Dallas Stars are able to get there. Shot from Johnston, stop from Wallstedt. Middleton's got it. Nice feed along the boards. Boldy fighting forward in the corner with a couple of Dallas Stars players. And Dallas is able to get back to the point. I think that was Harley who dumps it back in, and Minnesota chasing after it. Spurgeon is able to get there, but it's held in by Dallas. Sent behind the goal line. Minnesota gets it. Nice play, and Johansson's going to start a breakout feed. And the Minnesota Wild get it, and they enter the offensive zone. And here comes Marcus Johansson around the net, trying to find some sort of a passing lane, leaves it for Faber. Faber walking in, passes in front to Eriksson Ek, and I think that one was stopped. Yep, it goes wide. Eriksson Ek, though, does keep the puck. Quinn Hughes at the point. Hughes looking for some sort of passing lane, gets it to Faber, taken down, but Faber still has the puck. Faber back to Quinn Hughes. Hughes back to the point, Boldy shoots, stopped. Johansson's got it. Now Eriksson Ek trying to fight for it, and the Minnesota Wild are going to fight for it along the boards, trying to get a loose as Marcus Johansson. Couple of Wild and Stars players there along the boards to the side closest to your screen if you are viewing it. And once again, they're just fighting for it right now. Minnesota does get it back to the point. Faber shoots. Stopped by Onger. Another nice stop. And the puck takes the deflection and goes out of the zone. A huge break from the Dallas Stars. Here comes Brock Faber again, speeding through the center ice. Gets into the offensive zone. Below the goal line, shoots. And that one's going to be rimmed around the boards. Kaprizov gets it to the other side. And Minnesota keeps it in. And now they don't. And the Dallas Stars are going to be able to regain possession and tag up. Minnesota trying to go after it, and here comes Lyubushkin. Lyubushkin, nice feed there, and here comes the Dallas Stars. Rantanen's got it, but he loses the puck. Minnesota gets in the defensive zone, and this might be a 3-on-2 break here for the Wild. Zuccarello's got it. Across to Kaprizov. Kaprizov trying to go after a couple of Stars players, can't. And now trying to fight for it is Zuccarello against a couple of Stars defenders. The Wild are able to keep the zone for the time being. Kaprizov trying to get it, and he is able to behind the net, but Lindell's the only one there, and the Stars are going to regain possession as Dallas gets it out. Minnesota is going to be able to intercept it. Kaprizov to Zuccarello. Zuccarello's pass goes wide, but Middleton keeps it in. And now here comes Kaprizov, who's keeping it in the offensive zone. And let's see here. Hold on a minute here, guys. Let's see. Just give me a second here, folks. Let's see. Dallas has the puck. The Stars do have possession, and Minnesota's going to dump it back down. So smart move there from the Minnesota Wild. Sturm with a big hit on Heiskanen, and that's a nice stop there. And here in the neutral zone, Minnesota is able to get there. Minnesota has it, and they are not going to be able to get there. The Minnesota Wild do have possession, and now Dallas does in the neutral zone. Dallas trying to dump it in, and they are able to get maybe a little bit of a break here. Heiskanen has it, shoots, stopped by Wallstedt. Another nice stop from Jesper Wallstedt, and that's going to go off play with 7:56 left in the first period. So very interesting to note there. Let's see there. So that's all good so far. I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Thank you for that. Once again, I do apologize if anything's a little bit buffery. The Wi-Fi is a little bit slow today, so I do apologize for that. Once again, very interesting game so far. Minnesota's up 1-0 thanks to a goal from Quinn Hughes. You're not missing anything. We're currently in a commercial break, so we have 7:56 left in the first period and a 1-0 Minnesota Wild lead. So once again, I do apologize for any sort of buffering on the stream. And let's see. So very interesting stuff so far. Once again, you're on a commercial break, so you're not missing anything. Let's see here. It seems like everything is going a little bit smoother. I do apologize for any sort of bad Wi-Fi connections. Okay. So it seems like the Wi-Fi is going in and out, so I do apologize, everyone. I do apologize for that. Let's see here. Once again, seems like everything's working right now. You're just in a commercial break, so you're not missing anything. Let's see here. Once again, you're not missing anything. We are just in a commercial break. So very interesting to note there. I do apologize. The Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty today, so I do apologize for any sort of buffering and glitching in the screen. I do apologize for that. Hopefully nothing else happens. So once again, you're not missing anything. We are in a commercial break. So let's see here. I do want to let you guys know, if you guys want to, leave a chat, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. Tell all your friends best hockey content on YouTube is right here at the End to End Hockey channel. So if you can, please leave a subscribe. Tell all your friends best hockey content on YouTube is right here. We are back here in the first period, 7:56 left in the first. Once again, they're just interviewing Glenn Glutzen on the bench. So we shall wait and see how that's going to happen. I do apologize for any sort of buffering. Let's see how this goes here. Dallas has got an offensive zone faceoff draw here, and the Dallas Stars are going to lose the draw. Minnesota's going to be able to gain possession. Spurgeon's got it around the boards to Trennion, and Trennion loses the puck in the neutral zone. Dallas has got it. In the neutral zone, they're fighting for it. Minnesota's going to be able to regain possession. Just showing some of the later games that happen either today or tomorrow. And Spurgeon's behind the net, and he's going to send it the length of the ice. Dallas is able to get it back in the neutral zone. Minnesota now tips it into the Dallas zone. Heiskanen going back to get it. Heiskanen, nice job, trying to get around the boards. Tarasenko keeps it in. Trennion can't hold the line. And now Leah Bushkin dumps it back into the neutral zone. That's going to go into the Minnesota zone, and it's actually not going to be touched. That's an icing call on Dallas with 7:19 left in the first period. So very interesting to note there. I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in once again. I'm sorry if the Wi-Fi's been a little bit spotty, so I'm sorry if there's any sort of like buffering on the screen. I do apologize for that. But we are here and we are streaming, so I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Once again, offensive zone face-off draw here for the Wild with 7:19 left in the first period. Eriksson is going to win the draw. Boldy gets it, heads around the corner, gets it back to the point to Hughes. Hughes gets it to Faber. Faber with a shot, and that one's not going to get the net. Eriksson got it to Johansson. Johansson gets it to Boldy. Boldy to the point to Hughes. Quinn Hughes walking the line, makes a little couple of moves, shoots, and it's taken off his stick. But he does get it back. Hughes gets it back to the point to Johansson. Johansson back to Hughes. Hughes back to Johansson. Johansson shoots across, tried for a pass, and he could not feed it. Hughes does get it back to the point to Faber. Faber to Hughes. Hughes shoots one. Stopped. Eriksson tries to feed it in front. Nice stop from Onger, and the puck is flipped out by Dallas. Smart move there from the Dallas Stars. Quinn Hughes now has it. Quinn Hughes looking around, looking for some sort of passing lane. 6.5 left in the first period. Hughes, nice stop, stretch feed there to Kaprizov. Kaprizov in the offensive zone. Tries to get across, and took a deflection. I think Andre staved it. Hartman gets it around the boards. Tries to get to Kaprizov, who does wind up keeping it. Kaprizov has a couple of Stars draped all over him, and the Stars are able to get it to the point. Middleton keeps it in for a second. Middleton fighting for it, and Dallas now is able to get possession, and they do get the puck out of the zone. And they're trying to restart in their own zone. They lose possession in the neutral zone. Zuccarello tips it into the offensive zone for Minnesota, and Dallas is going to be able to loop around. Lindell trying to get something going, and he is hit off the puck. Nice leave there. Sturm across, shot, stopped by Onger. Another nice stop. There's a Stars player down in front. Minnesota still has possession, and now there's a stoppage. I don't know if this is going to be a penalty. It looks like it might be. Foligno's angry. And it might be a penalty here on the Minnesota Wild. Dallas's power play has been lethal, so that could be something to get going. Foligno took a huge hit on SL Lindell, and it looks like we're going to be going to commercial break here, but a nice try there for Minnesota to score a goal to get an extra one. A huge hit there for Marcus Foligno. So interesting to note there, and we are going to commercial break. So you're not missing anything. Still 1-0 Wild. It looks like the Stars might be just heading to the power play. It looks like Marcus Foligno just took a penalty. So it looks like that might be happening soon. Once again, you're not missing anything. We are in a commercial break. There's about 5-ish minutes left in the first period for the Minnesota Wild, who are currently up 1-0 on the Dallas Stars. So very interesting to note there. Once again, right to the intermission. I'll have my intermission report, and then I want to discuss a couple of interesting things that I found out about series that are 3-2. I want to discuss some things about that with you guys, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the chat below if you guys want to leave a chat. What do you think? Which way do you think these two games go later today? Do you think the Wild win, or do you think the Stars win? Do you think the Oilers win, or do you think the Ducks win? Personally, I think the Wild and the Ducks win. They end their series tonight, and there's no possibility for a Game 7 on Saturday. So that's what I think. Now, once again, Dallas and Edmonton are very resilient teams. I could see the Stars and the Oilers prevail and send it to 7, but I would say more than likely both those Wild and Ducks on home ice win those series. So very interesting note there. Once again, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the chat below. I do appreciate all of you guys. So if you guys want to leave a chat, and I'll try and get to it at some point during the live stream. So I do appreciate that. But once again, you're not missing anything. We are in a commercial break. So very interesting to note there. Once again, you're not missing anything. We should be getting back to the stream in just a couple of minutes. Once again, if you're just joining us, Quinn Hughes scored a goal a few minutes into the first period, and that gave the Minnesota Wild a 1-0 lead. And that is currently where we sit. Dallas has had some opportunities, but they have not been able to tie it as of yet. Looks like Dallas. Oh, there's no penalty on the play. It looks like Marcus Foligno is just going to the bench. They're just showing the big hits again. Foligno completely flattened SL Lindell. And then Foligno, that was the hit on Lindell. And then just after that, there was a huge hit, or actually he just sort of clipped Mikko Rantanen with his arm. I'm surprised it's not penalty, and the Minnesota Wild are going to be able to escape unscathed. So once again, that Dallas Stars power play has been lethal. If you're giving them a power play, you're almost guaranteeing them to get a goal. So once again, Rantanen looks like he's furious that wasn't a penalty, and it looks like he was just heading down the tunnel, so that's not good for the Dallas Stars. Dallas does have the puck into the offensive zone. Maverick Bourque dumps it in all over Quinn Hughes. Hartman's back there. He gets a huge hit from Bourque. Dallas is able to keep the line for just for a second. Minnesota tried to break out past. They were not able to. Dallas gets possession in the neutral zone and dumps it back in. Faber fighting with Steele on the boards. Minnesota is able to get it for a second. And nice feed around the boards. Quinn Hughes has it below the goal line, and he gets it to Kaprizov. And Kaprizov fighting to keep possession. Hughes does get it away from Bourque, and the Wild are going to set up 5 minutes left here in the first period. Quinn Hughes looking for some sort of a passing lane. He's just going to wait and reset in the defensive zone just in front of Jesper Wallstedt as both the Wild and the Stars are changing. Gets it to Nick Foligno. Nick Foligno dumps it in for his brother Marcus, and the brothers go after it. Bischel with a couple of huge whacks on Marcus Foligno, trying to get the puck away, and the Stars are able to get it. And here comes Dallas. They're able to just dump it in. That was Radek Faksa. Bach goes after it, and the Dallas Stars and Minnesota Wild fight for it in the corner. Dallas is able to keep it. Bach to Faksa. Faksa trying to get some sort of a passing lane going. Tries to get to Steele, can't. And actually, that was Blackwell. Nice shot there. And it looks like Foligno is, there's a whistle, there's a stoppage in play. Bischel and Foligno go after it. And I don't know what's being called here. There might be a penalty. Or there might just be a stoppage in play. Let's see what happened here. Foligno took a little bit of a run at Bischel. That might be charging. That could be charging. I'm not exactly sure. Bischel also put his stick in Foligno's face just a little bit. So I'm not sure if there's a penalty being called here. Foligno's going back to his bench. It doesn't look like there's a penalty being called here. And so is Bischel. So it looks like just a couple of coincidental hits on each other, and the Minnesota Wild are going to be able to once again escape unscathed. Cleo's been laying some pretty big hits in today's game. The Minnesota Wild lose possession. Dallas gets it shot wide of the net, and Minnesota is able to get the puck out. Solid move there from Minnesota. Dallas regroups in the neutral zone and escape back to the defensive zone. Heiskanen's got it. Being pressured by, I think that's Trenyan. And now the Stars try and set up some sort of an attack. Here's Steele. Steele gets it, or actually, that might have been someone else. But the Wild do get in the defensive zone and a nice feed across, but Dallas is not able to keep it in. The puck takes deflection off of a stick and goes out of play. Nice try from Jeff Petrie, who's coming in for the injured Jonas Brodin tonight. So very interesting to note there. 3:49 left in the first period. 1-0 currently for the Minnesota Wild. I'm expecting the Wild to lean heavily on their four top end defenders. You've got Petrie and Bogosian, who are a lot more on the older side of things. So I expect Middleton, Spurgeon, Hughes, and Faber to get a lot of ice time tonight. So it'll be very interesting to note there. Shots are currently 5-2 for the Minnesota Wild right now. So very interesting to note there. And the Stars, and while the Stars have an offensive zone faceoff draw here, and the Stars are able to win it, shot on goal, stopped by Wallstead. Minnesota gets it back. Nice pass there to Eriksson Ek. Eriksson Ek enters the offensive zone to Johansson. Johansson dumps it around. Boldy's going after it. Boldy is hit off the puck, but he does keep possession for the time being, gets it back, but the Stars are able to intercept and try a stretch feed, and this one's going to go down the ice for icing on Dallas. With 3:29 left in the first period, still a 1-0 Minnesota Wild lead. Offensive zone face-off draw pending for the Minnesota Wild. So, very interesting note there for those of you guys who are just tuning in. Quinn Hughes scored a goal 5 minutes into the first period. That's given the Minnesota Wild a 1-0 lead in this win and advance to round 2 game for the Minnesota Wild, trying to advance to their first second round appearance in 11 years or 12 years. It's been over a decade since they made the round 2. So once again, offensive zone face-off draw here for Eriksson Ek and the Minnesota Wild, and they do win it, but it's way too high for Quinn Hughes, and he has to go back into his own zone to get the puck. Hughes is able to get back to Boldy. Boldy loses possession of the puck, but he is able to recover and gets it back to Quinn Hughes. Hughes gets it to Faber. Faber tipped in front by one of the defenders. Eriksson Ek's got it now, and he's going to send it into the offensive zone. Dallas is able to get there. Heiskanen's got it. Heiskanen trying to feed it around, can't get past Eriksson Ek, and Heiskanen fighting for it with Eriksson Ek. Dallas is able to get there. Johnston passes it, and the Minnesota Wild are able to gain possession. Quinn Hughes, backhand pass to Faber. Faber, nice stretch feed to Boldy. Boldy trying to make some moves. He's going to send it around the boards, trying to get it to Eriksson Ek. Liabushkin's right there. Minnesota is able to get possession. Eriksson Ek has it. He's got a little bit of space. Shot stopped by Onger with 2.5 minutes left in the first period, and they 1-0 Minnesota Wild lead. So very interesting to note there, but the Wild do lead 1-0. Shots are currently 6-2 for the Minnesota Wild. So very interesting to note there. Once again, offensive zone faceoff draw pending for Minnesota. Once again, I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Leave your thoughts down below in the chat. Let your guys' thoughts on who you think wins today's games, Minnesota or Dallas, Edmonton or Anaheim, and what do you think the scorelines will be. And I'll let you guys' thoughts on the playoffs in general. Has there been any surprises to you so far in the postseason? Offensive zone face-off draw here for Minnesota, and they are able to win it, but Dallas gets it back really quickly, and Lindell dumps it into the neutral zone. Dallas is able to get there. Bork gets it to Rutskovian. Rutskovian sends it into the Minnesota Wild zone. Petrie there trying to fight for it. And Petrie trying to get a couple of Stars players away. The Minnesota Wild do gain possession of the puck, but just for a second. Kaprizov can't get it. Here comes Liabushkin at the point. Shoots! Stopped by Wallstead, and it's cleared out by the Minnesota Wild. A smart clear there for Minnesota. It's not good. It is. It just goes enough for icing for the Dallas Stars. So it's going to be offensive zone face-off draw here for Dallas. With 2:09 left. Solid play there from Dallas as they were trying to get some movement here. Once again, they're just showing the pass from Quinn Hughes to Brock Faber, trying to send some things out. Once again, just a beautiful play there from Quinn Hughes to intercept that puck and then pass it. So, once again, Hughes has been all over the ice so far today and had the lone goal in this game. So, really good stuff there from Minnesota. 2:09 left in the first period. Offensive zone face-off draw for Dallas. And Dallas's players waved out of the face-off dots. So, they're going to have to redo the face-off. And that's Hartman now in the face-off dot against Johnson. It looks like Johnson's stick broke, so I have to go get another one. Johnston out there in the faceoff draw against Hartman. Offensive zone faceoff draw here for the Stars. And Johnston is going to, let's see here, once again. And now they're going to redo it. And Johnston against Hartman. And Hartman wins the draw. Minnesota's gained possession. Nice loop around from Petrie. And the Wild do gain the puck out of the zone. This one is going on Onger, and he covers up with Kaprizov streaking in after the puck. And there's 2 minutes left in the first period. There will be a offensive zone faceoff draw for the Minnesota Wild. So good stuff there, and good job from Kaprizov to have to force Onger to cover up the puck instead of having him potentially play it. So once again, the Wild can now get their change, and that is going to be huge there for Minnesota. Once again, they're just showing the Dallas Stars bench right now. As the Dallas Stars are facing elimination, the series is 3-2 Minnesota, and it's first 1-2 4 wins. So that'll be interesting. Offensive zone face-off draw here for the Wild to the right of Jake Onger. Minnesota is able to get it. They're fighting for it in the corner. Foligno and a couple of other Stars. A couple Wild join in. Sturm's in there. And Johnston is able to get it out just for a second, though. And the Wild are able to regain possession in the neutral zone. Hughes to Faber. Faber with a tip in by one of the Minnesota Wild players. And Harley tries to loop it around, can't, and now it goes all the way down the ice. Minnesota is able to get there first. Faber gets it. Nice pass back to Hughes, and Minnesota gets it out of the zone. Nice play. Minnesota trying to get something going in the neutral zone. Dallas intercepts. Dallas has a little bit of a break here. Duchesne, spin move, gets it to the point, shoots, stopped by Wallstead. A nice stop from Jesper Wallstead, and the Minnesota Wild are going to just ever so slightly clear it out. Icing call on the Minnesota Wild with 1 minute and 14 seconds left in the first period. Once again, just showing some of the highlights so far. Quinn Hughes with the lone goal. Once again, they're just showing some of the highlights from the two Wild defenders, Faber and Hughes, which have been fantastic in this series. Once again, Minnesota has got to have one of the best decors when healthy in the entire NHL. So Hughes and Faber out there because of the icing, and the Minnesota Wild are able to get it. Faber gets it to Hughes. Hughes gets it back to Faber. And Faber is going to try and send it, and he is able to. That might have no icing. They wave it off, so the Wild are able to get their change. Dallas now has it, and that's Leon Bichelle. Bichelle gets it to one of the forwards, and they dump it in. Wallstead gets it back to, I think that's Spurgeon. Spurgeon dumps it back into the Dallas zone. Dallas has it in the defensive zone. Bichelle's got it. Under a minute to go in the first period, 45 seconds, in fact. Wallstead out to play the puck, and he gets it to Middleton. A little bit of a board battle here between Dallas and Minnesota is able to get there. Here come the Wild. They get to the red line. They clear it in. Trennion goes after the puck, and he is able to get it, but he loses the possession. 2-on-2 here into the offensive zone for the Dallas Stars. Duchesne trying to find some sort of passing lane, but looks like he was offside. And that's going to bring up a face-off draw with 23 seconds left in this first period. 1-0 Minnesota currently leads. Once again, they're just showing a huge hit from Alex Petrovic on Nick Foligno. That was a big hit, and Foligno looked like he almost folded in half. Foligno's hunched over on the bench right now, getting looked at by the trainer, so that is not good there. Looks like he's a little bit shaken up. Looks like he's good for now, but we shall see if he's able to continue to go for the rest of this game. Currently, 23 seconds left in the first period. Neutral zone face-off draw, won by the Minnesota Wild, get back into their own zone. Faber's got it with 19 seconds left. He sends it into the neutral zone. Dallas gets it back into the defensive zone for Minnesota. Minnesota's able to get there. Boldy dumps it into the Dallas zone. 8 seconds left in the first period, and it looks like we are content to go to intermission. Dallas is able to get there. Turns around, Brandon sends it down, and that's going to do it. So it's over. The first period is finished, and a Quinn Hughes goal a few minutes into the first period has given the Minnesota Wild a 1-0 lead over the Dallas Stars. So very interesting note there. We'll just really quickly do a quick intermission report here. Once again, the game probably won't start for another 16, 17 minutes. So you are not missing a thing. Let's really quickly here go over to the intermission report between Minnesota and Dallas and see how both teams have been doing so far. Just give me a second here, guys. And let's see. Hold on a minute here, guys. And here we go. Okay, so the stats at the intermission for Minnesota and Dallas. Shots on goal are 7-4 right now for the Minnesota Wild. The opening goal came at 6:23 of the first period when Quinn Hughes opened the scoring for the Minnesota Wild from Marcus Foligno and Nico Sturm. So the fourth liners got a couple of assists, and Minnesota was able to get the 1-0 lead, which they currently hold going into intermission. Some other stats: the Wild currently hold the lead on the face-off percentage, as they have won 11 of 19 face-offs. So really good stuff there for the Wild. Neither team has taken a penalty so far, so both teams are 0 for 0 in the power play. Currently, the Stars lead in hits, out hitting the Minnesota Wild 15-14. The Stars lead in blocked shots, out blocking the Minnesota Wild 3-1. Stars have 4 giveaways to the Minnesota Wild's 2, and the Wild have 2 takeaways to the Dallas Stars 0. So some very interesting stats there, but those are the stats as of the end of the first period. So once again, I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in for this. And once again, we will be back to do the play-by-play in a couple of minutes. But once again, if you guys want to tune in here, just going to do a couple of talking points here. So first, last night we saw 3 very interesting games happen. There were some very interesting series. The first one last night was between the Montreal Canadiens and Tampa Bay Lightning. That was a very interesting game in Tampa. Game 5, series tied at 2. Winner goes ahead and takes a 3-2 series lead heading back to Montreal. Last night, the Montreal Canadiens were able to open the scoring in the first period thanks to a goal from Brendan Gallagher that opened the scoring. That was followed up by a goal from Dominic James in the second period that tied the game up at 1 apiece. A few minutes after that, I think it was Alex Texier, I want to say, or actually I think it was Kirby Dach, who gave the Montreal Canadiens a 2-1 lead over Tampa. That was followed up a couple minutes later by Jake Gensel, which would make it a 2-2 game. That's the way it went into the third period, a 2-2 scoreline, where in the third period, just a couple of minutes in, actually, I think it was just under a minute in, Alex Texier was able to open the scoring, or was able to give the Montreal Canadiens the go-ahead goal, and that is where the game finished. Montreal will hold on for a 3-2 victory. So the Habs are currently up 3-2 on the Tampa Bay Lightning after winning 3-2 in last night's game, and they have a chance to end it tomorrow in a game that I will be live streaming at 5 p.m. Mountain Time in Montreal. So very interesting to note there, but I will be doing a live stream of the Habs and Bolts game that happens tomorrow, so I do hope you guys all tune in for that one. On top of that, we do have a couple more very interesting games that happened last night. Next, we saw the Penguins take on the Flyers. It was a very interesting defensive battle. Both goaltenders, Silovs and Vladar, were spectacular. But in overtime, towards the end of the first overtime, it was a point shot from Cam York that found its way through that sent the Philadelphia Flyers to the second round. So now we have a confirmed second round matchup. The Philadelphia Flyers are going to be going to the Carolina Hurricanes to start the second round in the Metro side of the divisions of the bracket. So very interesting to note there. It was a very interesting game. Vladar stopped all 42 shots he faced. He was spectacular. And Silovs, no offense to him, he was also pretty good, stopping 31 of 32 shots. It was just not enough. So the Penguins, very interesting game there. And could this be the last time we see the trio of Letang, Malkin, and Crosby in a playoff game together? That's a possibility, with Malkin being a UFA, all 3 of them getting up there in age, and no guarantees Pittsburgh's going to make the playoffs again next year. So that's very interesting. When it comes to the other game we saw yesterday, it was between Vegas and Utah. That was once again complete and utter fantastic hockey action. The Knights were able to score a couple of second period goals that gave them a 3-2 lead entering the third period. The Mammoths would score 2 early third period goals that gave them a 4-3 lead. For the second consecutive game, the Utah Mammoths were up 4-3 on the Vegas Golden Knights in the third period with a chance to close it out. But a hat-trick game-tying goal for Pavel Dorofeyev with just under a minute left would give the Vegas Golden Knights life and would tie the game up at 4 apiece heading into the third period, heading into overtime. Where in overtime, there was nothing that happened because there was no goals. So it went to double overtime. And then in double overtime, short-handed, Brett Howden would score for the Vegas Golden Knights to give the Golden Knights win in overtime and give them the series lead. That series was also 2-2. It's now 3-2 Vegas. It's eerily similar. It's very weird and eerily similar to how the Minnesota Wild Vegas Golden Knights first-round series last year mirrors this year's Vegas and Utah series, because Utah and Minnesota both lost game 1s to Vegas. They both won won game 2 and game 3, game 2 on the road, game 3 at home, then Vegas in overtime would tie the series up in game 4 on the road, and then in game 5 at home in a 2-2 series, Vegas would break the tie to get the overtime winner, take the series lead 3-2, and coincidentally enough, in both game 5s last year in the first round and this year in the first round, Brett Howden was the guy who scored the goal that gave them the overtime winner and helped them get the series lead. So that's just a little bit weird to me, the fact that Howden was able to score both of the last year's goals and this year's goals. If it follows last year's script, then that means Vegas is probably going to win the series tomorrow in Utah. If it doesn't follow the script, Utah might be able to force a game 7, and that's a series, in my opinion, in which I think deserves a 7-game series. I think a couple of the series that I think do deserve, and I could definitely see go to game 7, would be Montreal-Tampa and would be Utah-Vegas, because those two series have been fantastic. They've been very close. They've been competitive, and I think they both deserve 7-game series. Will it happen? I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure, but I do think both those series do deserve a game 7. So once again, those were the games that happened yesterday. Now, I was actually thinking about this after the Edmonton Oilers forced a game 6 tonight. And I was actually thinking, what's the stats on the teams who have a 3-2 series lead who go into the last 2 games of the series, game 6 and game 7, if need be? How many teams are able to actually get it done when they're up 3-2 in a series? Are they able to get it done in game 6? Are they able to get it done in game 7? Or do they wind up losing game 6 and game 7 and falling in the round that they're playing in? So I looked it up. In the last 5 years, there have been 48 series that reached game 5 at a 3-2 series lead for a team. And in most of those series, the series winds up coming to an end in game 6. 27 of those 48 series, over half, wound up finishing in 6 games with the team who was up 3-2 winning in 6 games. And we saw that happen last night with Philadelphia when they were up 3-2 in the series and they wound up taking that series 4-2. Now, 14 times over those 48 series that had a 3-2 series lead, the team who had the 3-2 series lead would lose the game 6. That would make it a tie series, but would win the game 7 to still hold on and advance to the next round. And when it comes to teams who had 3-2 series leads and blew it, losing game 6 and game 7 to fall in that series, that only happened 7 times over the last 5 years. So once again, I expect most of the 3-2 series this year, based off of those stats, to wind up finishing in 4-2 series. There might be a couple of them that wind up getting extended to game 7, but even if they do get extended to game 7, the team who currently has that 3-2 series lead is more than likely going to wind up winning that series. So I'm expecting maybe there's one team out there who's currently trailing 3-2 in their series, whether that's maybe Edmonton, maybe Dallas, maybe Utah, maybe Tampa, or maybe the other game that's going to go tomorrow, Boston, are able to force a game 7 and wind up coming back from that 3-2 series deficit, but it doesn't usually happen a whole bunch. So I'm expecting most of the teams who have the 3-2 series leads going into game 6 wind up winning that series. So those are some of the stats from recent memory when it comes to teams who currently own 3-2 series leads going into game 6 and game 7 with those leads. And it seems like majority of the time, I think it was like about 85% of the time, teams who hold 3-2 series leads over the past 5 years going into game 6 wind up winning the series in either game 6 or game 7. Very, very rarely, about 15% of the time, does it happen that a team who's trailing in the series 3-2 is able to win game 6, game 7, and take the series after being trailing. So, very interesting note there. You're not missing anything. We are currently in intermission. There's still about 8 minutes left in intermission. If you're just joining us, Quinn Hughes opened the scoring 6 minutes in for the Minnesota Wild. That currently has them in front 1-0 over the Dallas Stars. I'm just going to move this thing back here, and I'm just going to change this to intermission. I should have done that a little while ago. Sorry, you guys. Hold on a minute here, and this is going to go to intermission. Okay, hold on a minute here. Just make that caps, and that should be good to go. Okay, we'll move this, make this a little bit bigger, and we will move this here. That should be good. Okay, so it's currently in intermission. There's still about 7 minutes left in intermission before we wind up getting back underway. Once again, I was just recapping a couple of the games that happened last night, with Vegas beating Utah in overtime, with Philly, or actually in double overtime, with Philadelphia beating Pittsburgh 1-0 in overtime to end their series, and with Montreal taking a 3-2 series lead after beating the Tampa Bay Lightning 3-2 in Tampa. So that's our interest note there. Once again, if you guys don't know, I am doing another live stream tomorrow, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. I hope you guys tune in. It'll be Montreal Tampa Game 6. That's going to be a very interesting series. So I do wonder which way that one's going to go. I'm expecting Montreal to probably end it, but will not be one bit surprised if the Tampa Bay Lightning do wind up taking that series and forcing the Game 7 back in Tampa. So we shall wait and see. Once again, you're not missing anything. Still about 6 minutes left until we are done with intermission. So, very interesting note there. Once again, if you're just tuning in, 1-0 for the Minnesota Wild over the Dallas Stars. So, very interesting to note there. Once again, I'm not going to make any promises for Game 7s. A, we don't know when any Game 7s are going to be or if there is going to be any Game 7s. And B, Sunday's usually pretty busy for me with church, and I have a couple of errands to run afterwards. So if I get a chance that I am able to do a Game 7 on either Sunday or Saturday, I will let you guys know in probably the community sections or on my Twitter page. But if not, then just not going to mention anything. So we shall wait and see if we are. But we're definitely going to do a Game 6 live stream tomorrow between Montreal and Tampa, which I think is going to be a very interesting game. Once again, you're not missing anything. We're currently in intermission between the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars. Once again, shots are currently 7-4 for the Wild, and they're up 1-0. So that's really good news there for Minnesota. Once again, let your guys' thoughts down in the chat below. Has any of these playoff series so far been surprising? Which series do you think is the most likely to hit a Game 7? And do you think that both the Wild and the Ducks are able to end their series later tonight? I love your guys' thoughts on all those down in the comments chat below. Once again, if you guys can, leave a subscribe. Tell all your friends the best hockey content on YouTube is right here at the End to End Hockey channel. And like I mentioned, we're trying to hit 750 subscribers in the next couple of weeks, potentially by the second or third round of the postseason. So if you guys can, really just help with the channel. Once again, we are going to be having a couple of videos come out right after this stream. I was trying to get a couple of them posted before the stream, but was not able to. We have a fan reaction coming out. We're going to have a game recap coming out right after the video. And we're also going to be having a power rankings video. Once again, I should start the power rankings a little bit. I took that video, I think it was either yesterday or Tuesday evening. So it's a little bit outdated with how the series are right now, but I definitely did change up a couple of things in the power rankings. So I hope you guys tune in for those videos that are going to be coming out later today. Once again, we do have one other game, but it's not started yet. It won't start for another about hour and a half, and that is Oilers Ducks. That will be starting at 8 p.m. Mountain Time later tonight. So you're not, once again, that'll be a very interesting one. I do think that the Ducks are going to be able to win that one. I expect a huge, epic performance from Lucas Dostal. I do expect Dostal, after being pulled in the last game, after the Ducks were blown out. Once again, we've seen that in the past couple of weeks since the postseason started with Andre in Game 1 and with Swayman in Game 4. After they both got lit up and pulled, both guys came in and looked phenomenal when they came back. So once again, I do expect both those teams to have once again, I do expect those to have a very good bounce back game and lead the Ducks to the second round. Once again, you're not missing a thing. They're just, once again, just showing some of the things that happened in that first period. Once again, they're just showing the huge save by Jake Andre on Marcus Foligno. Once again, that should be the last commercial break. And then we should be able to get going here for the second period. So I'm just going to change some things up here. Just give me a minute here, guys. Let's change this to the second because that should be coming up in just a couple of seconds here. So let's see here. Okay, in the second, and that looks good. Hold on a minute here, guys. And this is going to be a little bit over here. And that is good. Okay, so we're just about to start second period. Stars and Wild. Wild trying to advance to their first second round appearance in, I think, 12 years. It's been over a decade since Minnesota's gone around two. Dallas trying to force a Game 7 in Dallas on Saturday. So this is going to be very interesting. The last 40 minutes, potentially, we'll see overtime. We'll have to wait and see. Once again, both games earlier on in Minnesota have gone to overtime, so we shall see how this one goes. I'm once again rooting for the Minnesota Wild. I do hope that the Wild do wind up taking this game. I'm hoping they do advance. Once again, I do hope that they do. Hold on a minute here, guys. Let's see. I'm just going to do a quick thing here and post that. Okay. Let's see here. Once again, I do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I do thank you for that. Once again, we are just over an hour into our live stream. The second period is just about to get underway. So I do hope that you guys all tune in, chat, leave a comment, leave a like. I do appreciate it. Once again, you're not missing anything. We're currently in the last commercial break of intermission. So very interesting to note there. And later tonight, we will have Oilers and Ducks. Now, I do want to let you guys know we'll probably have a schedule coming out next week for round two live play-by-plays, which I will be doing next week. Once again, not sure about game sevens, but we'll definitely be doing a couple of live streams for round two next week, so we'll definitely be able to do that. But I am going to be making sure that you guys know I am going to be doing a live draft lottery video. Once again, I did a couple of these over the past couple of years. So that's on Tuesday. I can't remember if it's 4 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time. But we are going to be doing a live draft stream on Tuesday, so I hope you guys all tune in for that. That's going to be a very interesting one. Once again, we'll see who ends up winning the draft lottery. Last year, it was Utah and the New York Islanders, and we shall see if there is anyone who ends up moving up in the draft, or if it does wind up staying Vancouver, and I think it was Chicago or Vancouver, New York, who are the top two. Either way, we are going to be doing another draft lottery live stream on Tuesday, so I hope you guys all tune in for that. Let's see here. And once again, you're not missing anything. We are currently just waiting for this game to get back underway, so you're not missing anything. Let's see here. Hold on a minute here, guys. Let's see. Once again, they're just commercial breaks. So you're not missing anything. So I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. I hope you guys all tune in for tomorrow's live stream to Montreal and Tampa. So I hope you guys all tune in for that. And we're just about to get underway for the second period here between the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars. So that's going to be a very interesting one. And once again, they're just showing a couple of commercials. And it looks like we're about to get back into game action here between the Stars and the Wild. So just give me a second here, guys. And it looks like it's going back in, and it is. So we're back here for the Minnesota Wild Dallas Stars game. Just about to start the second period here. I once again do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Minnesota trying to advance to round two for the first time in 12 seasons. So a lot of these players on this Minnesota Wild team are very frustrated and have not been able to make it past round one. So we shall see if they are able to. They've got a fantastic decor, pretty decent depth on the forward group, a star goaltender in Wallstead. Once again, Dallas trying to force this game back to Dallas for a game 7. So we shall wait and see what happens here. We're just getting underway here for the second period between Dallas and Minnesota. Once again, they're just zooming in on the face-off as it sits in the face-off dot as we get going here, and the Minnesota Wild are able to win the neutral zone face-off. Favorite dumps it into the Dallas Stars zone. Dallas is trying to fight for it, cannot get there. Boldy trying to get it, so there's a couple of Dallas Stars, and it gets dumped down the Minnesota Wild end, and it's icing 17 seconds in, and Minnesota Wild will have an offensive zone face-off draw here. So good stuff there for the Minnesota Wild as they will be getting an offensive zone face-off draw after the icing by the Dallas Stars. Once again, Hughes and Faber both out there again, as that D pair has wreaked havoc for the Minnesota Wild. Heiskanen's out there as well, and the Minnesota Wild are not able to get there. The Dallas Stars win the face-off, and Robertson tips it into the neutral zone where Minnesota is going to be able to recover. Dallas is able to get there. Robertson is going to dump it in. Dallas goes after it, and Johnston's got it. Johnston to Heiskanen at the point, gloved down by Wallstead, and he's going to hold on for a face-off in the defensive zone for the Minnesota Wild. 19:24 left here in the second period. So very interesting to note there. Wallstead, really solid game so far from him. Once again, they're just showing some of the highlights. A solid shot there, and Wallstead was able to see it, and he was just able to catch it. So good stop there from Jesper Wallstead, who was able to get it before Mikkel Rantanen and Stick was able to. So very interesting to note there. Shots now 7-5 for the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota is able to win the defensive zone draw. Middleton's got it, and he's going to loop it around the boards, and Harley can't hold the line. This one is no icing. Heiskanen is going after it along with, I think that's Kaprizov. and the Wild are fighting for it. Hartman with Heiskanen trying to fight for it, and the Stars are able to get there for a second. Now Hartman regains possession, and the Stars are able to intercept it. And here comes Dallas. Robertson sends it into the Minnesota Wild zone, and another nice try tipped out by the Minnesota Wild. And Dallas is going to be able to regain possession in the defensive zone. And that's Lindell around the end, gets it intercepted. Here comes Minnesota in the offensive zone. Hartman tries to get it. He gets it back. Hartman trying to find a tip in front, can't, and the Wild can't hold the zone. Puck back into the neutral zone, and Minnesota's got it again. Here come the Minnesota Wild. And they lose the draw, lose possession, and here comes Dallas. Dallas is in. Liabushkin sends it in, or actually that's Roscovian who sends it in. Minnesota's got it after the send-in, and they're just going to try and reset in their own zone. So very interesting to note there. Minnesota's got it. Quinn Hughes trying to find some sort of passing lane, and he does. Hughes sends it into the Dallas zone. Dallas is going after it, so is Minnesota. The Wild are able to keep it, and it looks like there might be a penalty here on the play to the Dallas Stars. Or no, it was actually an offside call for the Minnesota Wild. So Dallas is able to regain possession, send it back into the Minnesota zone, and now it's touched up by Minnesota. I don't know what the stoppage was. It might have been an icing call in Dallas. So we shall see. Once again, they're just showing some of the Oilers and Ducks players arriving to the rink as the Oilers and Ducks players as the Ducks look to try and close out this series. So very interesting to note there. Once again, offensive zone face-off draw here for the Minnesota Wild. And McCarron out there against one of the Dallas Stars players, and McCarron does win to Tarasenko. Point shot from Petrie, and it's blocked by one of the Dallas Stars players. Dallas has it up into the offensive zone, and they chip and chase. Bach going after Petrie. Petrie gets it around to Bogosian, and the Wild are able to keep it for a minute. McCarron tries to get it out, and he does. Nice play there from Michael McCarron. And now here come the Stars. Bichelle in his own zone. Passes it along the boards to Duchesne. Duchesne gets it across to his offensive partner. Minnesota gets it back in the defensive zone after taking it off one of the Dallas Stars players. And one of the Minnesota players are taken down. That was Bogosian. McCarron is able to get it. Passes it back to Bogosian, who tips it out. And there's a stoppage in play here. And this might be a penalty here on one of the teams. Let's see here. And yep, Duchesne is going into the box. There'll be a power play here for the Minnesota Wild. I'm not sure if this is high sticking or if this is tripping, or it's actually looks like it's hooking on Matt Duchesne. Yeah, he definitely was able to push Bogosian over to keep possession of the puck. So very interesting to note there as the Dallas Stars are going to the penalty kill. Oh, excuse me. Okay, Minnesota Wild power play now with 17-14 left in the second period, already up 1-0. Here come the Minnesota Wild as they're going to have some offensive zone pressure here as they have a power play. And the Minnesota Wild are going to fight for it in the faceoff dot, and they're going to redo it. Once again, offensive zone faceoff draw here. Minnesota is on the power play. And Fox against Eriksson Ek. Eriksson Ek wins it, and Minnesota is able to get there. Minnesota around the boards, gets it to Kaprizov. Kaprizov to the point, gets it back to Kaprizov. Kaprizov to Boldy. Kaprizov gets it back to Boldy, shoots. Stopped by Andre. Nice play. One of the Wild players went completely into the net. I think that was Zuccarello. Once again, Eriksson Ek, Kaprizov, Hughes are all out here. Kaprizov tripped up. The Wild Stars do get there. And once again, with a couple of players trailing, Dallas just dumps it into the defensive zone. Quinn Hughes sets up behind his own net. A minute 27 left on the Minnesota power play. Once again, the Wild are 3 for 7 on the power play with Zuccarello on the ice in this postseason. They're a lot worse without him. Kaprizov's got it. Tries to get it across. Heiskanen is able to intercept it, and the Stars are able to send it down the ice. Smart play there from Dallas. Wallstead, nice backhand feed to get it back to Quinn Hughes instead of potentially turning over to the streaking Dallas player. Hughes gets it into the neutral zone, and he speeds up. Hughes into the offensive zone. Backtracks it, tries to get across, and Boldy cannot keep the line, and this might be a little bit of a break here for Dallas. Nice play from Zuccarello to keep it away from Foxa, at least for a couple of seconds. Foxa has it in the offensive zone for Dallas, still shorthanded for 45 seconds. Minnesota is able to get back. Kaprizov across to Eriksson Ek, who gets it back to Quinn Hughes as they try and reset. Here come the Minnesota Wild to get into the offensive zone, but the Stars are able to get there, and they dump it down the ice. 30 seconds left in this Wild power play. And Minnesota is able to get there first. Hughes pushed off by Sam Steele. Once again, staying with the puck. Steele gets it. Steele across the box, cannot do it, but Bishop holds the line. Shot stopped by Wallstead. Once again, still shorthanded for 15 seconds for Dallas. Blackwell gets it. He just gets it back to Bishop, who's going to get it back to the neutral zone. Dallas just holding on to here. They dump it down. That should probably do it here for the man advantage for Minnesota. 3, 2, 1, 5-on-5. Solid play there from Minnesota. I mean, from Dallas's penalty kill. And Dallas is able to intercept it. Duchesne cannot keep it, though. Tarasenko gets it. And here comes Marcus Johansson. Johansson fighting his way in around the net. Gets it back to the point. Johansson pass across, shoots. Tarasenko cannot get the shot away. Gets it back to below the goal line, but Dallas, there's too many of them, and they gain possession back, and Dallas is able to chip it into the neutral zone. Here comes Mikko Rantanen, or Matt Duchesne, actually, who's fighting with Faber for the puck, and Nick Foligno is able to get there first, and the Wild are able to get the puck out of the offensive zone, out of the defensive zone, and Dallas sends it right back into the Wild zone. Nice pass there. It might be a little bit of a break here, and that is Nick Foligno trying to get it to Sturm, cannot. Dallas is all over him. Sturm does have a little bit of possession time here. Now it's Marcus Foligno. Marcus Foligno sends it back to Nick Foligno, fighting for it. One of the Wild defenders elevates, and now here's Spurgeon back down below the goal line to, I think that's Sturm. Sturm gets it to Marcus. McCarron shoots, stopped by Ottinger with 14 minutes left in the second period, and he will hold on for an offensive zone face-off draw for the Dallas Stars. So very interesting to note there are a couple of good looks there from Minnesota, especially on the power play, but they could not put anything past Jake Ottinger, who, after allowing the first goal, has been pretty much lights out. So they're going to go make a line change here with offensive zone face-off draw now. Minnesota currently up 1-0 on the Dallas Stars. So very interesting to note there. 14 minutes left here in this second period. Once again, we do have one more game playing today, but that game will not start for probably another hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. So that game is Edmonton-Anaheim. Offensive zone face-off draw here for the Wild, and they are able to win it. Back to the point, and I think they're going to say a penalty here, or maybe just a face-off that was not good. And yeah, there's a penalty here. Trent is going to the box. The Dallas Stars' lethal power play unit is coming back on the ice for the first time in this game. Let's see what happened here. Trent, it looks like it's holding on, I think that was Johnston. Let's see here. There's a little bit of a better angle. It was on, I think that was on Johnston. Let's see here. Oh, no, it was on Bunting. Sorry. Yeah, so it was on Bunting. Nice hold from Trenton is going to earn himself a spot in the penalty box. And now a power play here for Dallas for one of the most lethal power play units in the entire playoffs so far this year. Power play leaders this postseason, Duchesne has 6, Rantanen, Haskin, and Robertson have 5, and then others in the other NHL organizations are tied for 4. So Dallas has the top 4 power play unit players on the entire NHL. So very interesting to note there, but Minnesota is able to get there, and they dump it down the ice. Andre leaves it for one of his guys as Dallas tries to reset on the power play, and they dump it back down, and here comes, I think that's Matt Duchesne. Duchesne leaves it for Rantanen. Rantanen gets it across. I think that's to Johnston. Johnston to Heiskanen. Heiskanen's got it. Heiskanen back to Johnston. Johnston walks in, shoots, and then hit too many bodies. Walked out by one of the Minnesota Wild players. And it goes right back into the Dallas Stars zone. Minute and a half left in the Dallas Stars power play. 13:26 left in the second period. Heiskanen stops up, sends it to Duchesne. Duchesne loops back around, gets it back to a streaking Wyatt Johnston. Johnston sends it to Robertson. Robertson sends it back to Heiskanen. Heiskanen gets it across to, I think that's Rantanen. Rantanen looking for some sort of passing. Gets to Duchesne, gets it back to Heiskanen. Heiskanen at the point, sends it back. 57 seconds left in the power play. Pass, shot, score. Dallas is on the board. They got a power play goal. I think that was Wyatt Johnston on the tip in front. Some beautiful passing, and this power play, which has been extraordinarily lethal, is going to capitalize on their first opportunity. Wyatt Johnston, who has been a power play merchant all season long, is going to be able to get this goal here. Once again, we're just going to look at it here. Duchesne got to Rantanen to Johnston to the back of the net. So a solid move there. Johnston has tied this game up for the Dallas Stars on the power play. So we're going to change that here. Hold on a minute here, guys. This is going to go 2-1. So that's fantastic. Okay. So it's a 1-1 game now in the second period between Dallas and Minnesota. So that's very interesting. Once again, it's 22nd career postseason goal. I think that's said for Wyatt Johnston. Once again, it's the 6th straight game with a power play goal in this series. So once again, Dallas has been money on the power play. And it looks like there's a stoppage in play here. I don't know sure what that was for. It might have been just need to redo the face-off, but Wyatt Johnston is able to get the Dallas Stars on the board, and we're going to go to a commercial break. So very interesting note there, but Wyatt Johnston has just given the Dallas Stars a goal to tie this game up at 1 apiece. Once again, you're not missing anything. We're currently in the commercial break. We're just over half of the game left, barring overtime, between the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars. Minnesota trying to advance, and Dallas trying to extend the series to a Game 7. So very interesting to note there. I really am hoping, and I do believe the Minnesota Wild will wind up winning it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the chat below. Leave a chat if you guys can. What do you think the scores will be tonight? What do you think will be between Edmonton and Anaheim, between Dallas and Minnesota? What do you think the scores will be tomorrow? And do you think we see any Game 7s? Let you guys' thoughts on all of that down in the chat below. And once again, if you haven't already, leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. It's free to do so. And we're trying to hit 750 subscribers, so I do appreciate that. Once again, we'll be giving you an intermission report at the second intermission. We do have one more game happening, but that's going to be way later tonight. In about just over an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, somewhere around there, we will have the Oilers take on the Anaheim Ducks. So that's very interesting. Once again, you're not missing a thing. Once again, just a commercial break. So I do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in and for liking the stream. I really do appreciate that. Once again, I do appreciate all of you guys for tuning into the channel. And if you guys can leave a like, it really just helps with the channel. And I do apologize for my video feed sort of buffering a little bit. Wi-Fi is not the greatest here, so I do apologize for that. We are back here once again with the Stars and Wild. There's 12:55 left here in the second period. And was now a 1-1 game. Dallas, Minnesota. Most playoff goals before turning 23. Johnston already has 22. He's just behind Malkin and Crosby amongst active players. So Johnston in elite company when it comes to scoring goals, tied with Nikita Kucherov. Neutral zone faceoff draw, won by the Wild, sent into the Dallas Stars zone. Dallas trying to clear it, and they are not able to. Spurgeon keeps the line. Shot from Minnesota, Tarasenko, and it's stopped by Jake Onger. And Minnesota is able to keep it in the offensive zone for the time being. And Minnesota trying to find some sort of a passing lane, can't. Dallas regains possession behind their own net, and they make a stretch feed pass. Nice pass there to Ben, but it's a little bit out of his reach, and Middleton is able to get there. But here come Dallas. Again, shoots, stopped. I think that was on Bork, and Wallsted's going to cover up. So solid stuff there from Jesper Wallstedt. 12:24 left now in the second period. So very interesting to note there. Once again, they're just showing some highlights. Middleton tried to clear it, could not. Bork stripped it off one of the Wild defenders. And he had a nice shot, but Wallstedt was right there to stop that puck. So really good stuff there from the Minnesota Wild. Let's see here. 12:24 left in the second period in a 1-1 game. Really hoping this Minnesota Wild team is able to advance to round 2 tonight. Really hoping that is the case. I would love to see it. I did pick Minnesota in 6 in my bracket. Haskins got in the offensive zone. Backhand feed, that one a little bit wide. Now Harley's got it at the point, passes it back to Heiskanen. Heiskanen funnels it back to one of the other Stars forwards, and they try and funnel it back along, and Rantanen is able to get there. Rantanen has it back to, I think that's Heiskanen, back to Harley's shot, and it took a deflection wide of the net. I think someone blocked that. Another try for the Dallas Stars, and they could not put it home. And now it's back to the point to Thomas Harley. Harley across to Heiskanen. Heiskanen trying to send it in deep, can't. Holds the line, though. Heiskanen to Harley. Harley's shot, and that one goes wide. Eriksson next got it in the corner, fighting with a couple of other Stars players. The Stars are able to get free. Ran in below the goal line, trying to get some sort of a passing lane. Tried to get to Heiskanen, missed it, and now the Dallas Stars are going to have to regain possession in their own zone. Heiskanen's got it across and sends it back into the neutral zone. Duchene's got it to Robertson. Robertson looking for some sort of a passing lane, can't find it, and he is taken down. No penalty on the play by the looks of things, and Minnesota's able to get there. Here comes Kaprizov. Kaprizov tries to send in Hartman, and he can't. Nice block from one of the Dallas Stars defenders. Dallas gets in the neutral zone, and now here comes Dallas. Steele trying to get around Middleton, can't. And now Spurgeon ties up one of the Dallas Stars players. and fighting for it in the corner. Middleton's got it, and the Stars are able to gain possession. Heiskanen shoots, and I think that one went wide. Minnesota's able to get possession now, tries a stretch feed, and they do get to Kaprizov, who leaves it to Zuccarello. Zuccarello trying to get something going, can't. Kaprizov's got it, hit off the puck, but gets it to Zuccarello, back to the point to Faber, or to Petrie shoots, and he's stopped. Bogosian's got it now at the point, sends it back for the Minnesota Wild, and I think that one took a deflection and went out of play. 10:25 left in the second period, and was a 1-1 game between the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild. So very interesting to note there. Once again, let's see. And Dallas against Minnesota. Let's see here. And another nice try, and they passed it along. And yeah, just another nice stop here from Jesper Wallstedt. So very interesting note there. Once again, we are nearing 7 o'clock Mountain Time. There's still 10:24 left in the second period here between Minnesota and Dallas. Dallas wins the draw. They have it in their own zone. Bach has it, and he just feeds it to one of the Dallas Stars players. Ryskovyan trying to set a center feed, can't. Fighting for it along the boards with a couple of other people. Petrie's got it along with Bork, and Bork is able to get there. Shoots, and there's too many of the bodies in front. Now Petrovic shoots, stopped, and the Wild are able to get out of their zone. They chased after it, but Petrovic is able to get there first, and he dumps it back into the Minnesota zone. And Petrie is going to backhand it, and he can't get it out, though. Foligno fighting for it, as is the other Foligno, and Dallas is only able to hold his line. Dallas has it now on the board. Ryskovyan gets it, shoots it, stopped, rebound, and Wallstedt is going to hold it on. And now there's a little bit of rough stuff going on between Petrie and Ryskovyan. So very interesting to note there. Once again, I think this is going to commercial break, just showing the Johnston goal, and that is going to go commercial. So I think we're just under 10 minutes to go in the second period, and was a 1-1 game. So good stuff there so far. I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. I do appreciate that. I hope you guys are having a good day. Once again, we will have a game later tonight between the Oilers and the Ducks. So that's going to be very interesting. I do think that the Ducks are going to be able to win. I'm expecting a fantastic performance from Lukáš Dostál. I'm expecting that. So I do think Dostal is going to lead the Ducks to the second round. And once again, we'll see if the Oilers are able to do something. But I do expect, after being pulled in the last game, Dostal to have a fantastic game. So we shall wait and see what happens there. Very interesting note there so far. Once again, I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Love to hear your thoughts down in the chats, in the comments, description down below. We really do appreciate that. Once again, you're not missing anything. We are in a commercial break, so you're not missing anything. And it is currently a 1-1 game. If you're just joining us, Quinn Hughes was able to open the scoring in the first period at around the 6-minute mark, thanks to a goal. So that was a good start there for Minnesota. But in the second period, just a couple minutes ago, Wyatt Johnston scored a power play goal to give the Dallas Stars some life and tie this game up at 1 apiece. So very interesting to note there. It is currently 1-1 right now in the second period. Once again, you're not missing anything. We are in a commercial break. So very interesting note there. I am going to be streaming another game tomorrow, Montreal-Tampa Bay. So that's going to be a very interesting one. So it'll be very interesting to see who wins that one. Montreal trying to end the series. Tampa trying to send it to a Game 7. So I will be doing that one. There's 9:38 left in the first period. Once again, they're just interviewing John Hines on the bench, coach of the Minnesota Wild. So once again, very interesting to note there. Hines' first potential series clinching game. So very interesting note there for Wild head coach John Hines. And once again, we are just about to get back into the swing of things here. I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Offensive zone face-off draw here for, I think, the Dallas Stars. Once again, they're just looking at Hughes in favor here, as that's once again, they're tied up, and they're going to redo the face-off. So they're going to have to redo the face-off. And it is currently Rantanen in the face-off dot out there against, I can't see who that is. And the Stars do win the draw. Harley at the point, gets it back to Heiskanen, back, shoots, and I think that Wallstedt was able to get that one. So a nice stop there from Wallstedt from the point. And there's going to be another offensive zone face-off draw here for the Dallas Stars. So really good stuff there. Once again, just showing the highlight. Heiskanen had the point. I think that was Robertson who took the shot. And let's see here. Yeah, it was Robertson who took a shot. And a very nice stop there from Jesper Wallstedt, who's been pretty good tonight. Shots are currently 10 apiece, and goals are 1 apiece. So makes sense. 9:34 left in the second period. Johnston now in the faceoff dot. and Johnston is going to lose the draw. Minnesota gains possession. Hughes loops it around the boards, and now here comes Quinn Hughes. Tipped in by, I think that's Johansson. Eric Sneck goes after it, and the Minnesota Wild are able to keep it in the offensive zone. Eric Sneck gets it, and he can't keep the line. Boldy going after it now, and the puck is dumped back into the neutral zone. Minnesota's got possession. Going back into the defensive zone is Quinn Hughes. Hughes trying to get away from Johnston, and he does, gets to the Faber. Faber tipped in by, I think that was Ryan Hartman. Boldy goes in after it, and the Minnesota Wild are not able to hold the line, and they have to go back into neutral zone to tag up. Faber turns the puck over, and maybe a little bit of a break here for Dallas. Rantanen looking for some sort of passing lane, shoots, and Robertson can't get there. Boldy trying to get to it, and he can't. There's a pile up in the slot, and Minnesota is able to get there for a second. Robertson keeps it alive. Faber gets it back to Hughes, and Hughes is going to send it into the neutral zone. Dallas gets it back, though. Dallas in, shoots, stopped on by Wallstead. A huge stop, point-blank shot. And now they try and send it, and Boldy's trying to get it out of Heiskanen, but he's off for a line change. Heiskanen gets it to Harley, and Harley walks in. Harley into the offensive zone, shoots, takes the deflection. Minnesota's able to keep it. And now here comes Minnesota, 2-on-2. Here comes Kirill Kaprizov. Backtrack, shoots, and I think that one went wide. A nice try there from, I think that was Matt Zuccarello. And it goes back around, passes it, cannot get it around the net. Hartman trying to center it, can't. And now Jason Robertson gets it. And it looks like that's going to be deflected, I think, out of play. I don't think that's going to be a penalty. So we shall see once again. Another nice try from the Minnesota Wild, but they're not able to get anything going here. Thomas Harley was able to get a nice shot off the rush, but it was blocked by the looks of things. Johnston had a nice shot. It was a little bit on edge, but a nice stop from Jesper Wallstedt. And then, once again, Kaprizov dropped it off for Hartman, and it looks like it just went wide. It looked like it went through Onger, but just went wide. Offensive zone face-off draw here for Hartman out there against Duchesne, and Duchesne is able to win it back into his own zone. Tries to clear it, and the Minnesota Wild are able to keep it. Hartman in the neutral zone has it taken off of his puck, off of his stick, but Spurgeon gets it to Middleton, who dumps it back into the Dallas zone. Lindell's got it. Lindell gets it to Hartman. Hartman is able to keep the line, gets it back to Zuccarello, fighting for it with Duchesne, but Duchesne is able to get it. Steele gets it to Ben. Ben gets it to Steele, and Steele dumps it into the Minnesota Wild zone. Middleton's got it now. Gets it to Zuccarello, and Zuccarello is going to lift the puck up into the neutral zone. Dallas is able to get the puck back, and here comes Leon Bichelle. Dumps the puck into the Minnesota Wild zone, chases after it. Middleton is hit off the puck by Colin Blackwell, and the Wild do get the puck out. And here comes Minnesota. Tries a backhand feed, and they are able to connect, but it takes a little bit longer, and Dallas is able to keep up with them. Dallas gets the puck in their own zone, and there's a penalty up here coming. I think there's a penalty upcoming here on one of the Stars or the Wild. Hold on a minute here, guys. Let's see what this is. Looks like there is going to be a penalty here, and Fox is going to the box. So the Minnesota Wild are going to have a power play here with 7 minutes left in the second period, trying to get the lead back in this game. So we shall see how this one goes. Once again, we shall see. Let's see here. Zuccarello try to backtrack it, and that pass just was not on the tape. Spurgeon had it, and he was hit there. Let's see what sort of a penalty here it was. And Middleton tried to get back. I think he was held up by Faxa. I think that might be what the penalty is for. So once again, offensive zone faceoff draw here from Minnesota. McCarron, Zuccarello, Boldy, Kaprizov, and Hughes are out there for the Minnesota Wild trying to get the power play going here. They're 0 for 1 so far tonight with 1 shot on goal. So trying to get a couple more shots, maybe a goal here on the power play to get themselves back the lead. Minnesota's got in the offensive zone. And once again, they're going to reset the faceoff. And let's see how this one goes. And they drop the puck, and Minnesota is able to win it to the point. And I think that's Eric Sinek. Back shoots, and that one took a deflection. Andre didn't know where it was, but it was behind the net. Kaprizov tries to get to the point, can't, and now they get back to the point. Quinn Hughes walks the line, gets it back to, I think that's Zuccarello. Then Kaprizov is all on the wings. Hughes got it, gets it to Kaprizov. Kaprizov back to Hughes. Hughes back to Kaprizov. Kaprizov back to Boldy. Shoots. Stopped. Hughes gets it back along the boards. Hughes gets it to Kaprizov. Kaprizov to Boldy, Boldy to Kaprizov, Kaprizov to Hughes, Hughes walking in, shoots, and that one was blocked, and Hughes has to go back out of the zone to recover. Minute 17 left in the power play for Minnesota. Hughes gets it to one of the Wild players along the boards, and Zuccarello drops it back to Hughes. Hughes gets it back to Zuccarello. Zuccarello gets it back to Hughes. Hughes walking the line, gets it back to Zuccarello. Zuccarello shoots, and that one I think went over the net, and it went out of play, I think. So very interesting note there, but the Minnesota Wild are not able to get the puck in the net. 57 seconds left in the power play for the Minnesota Wild. Once again, some nice passing, some nice shooting from the Minnesota Wild, but that one hit off of Onger, off of the crossbar. A nice shot from Zuccarello, but Onger just got just enough of it to put a puck over the crossbar. And then another nice try from Matthew Boldy. So very interesting to note there. Once again, I do apologize if my screen is a little bit buffery here. Offensive zone face-off draw for the Wild. Eriksson, Zuccarello, Boldy, Kaprizov, and Hughes are out there right now. Eriksson wins it, gets it back to the point, and Hughes once again making some people miss. The Wild can't keep the possession. Now they do. Gets it around, and they're able to get to the point, but that goes all the way down the ice. 43 seconds left in the Minnesota power play, 5:45 left in the second period. Hughes gets it, loops it back around to the far side, and Minnesota is able to get in. And here comes Minnesota trying to get something going here, and the puck is going to go back out of the zone. So Wallstead stops it up, gets it back to Faber as they change lines. Johansson, Hartman, and Spurgeon are now on the ice with Kaprizov, and now Kaprizov's off for Tarasenko. And here come the Minnesota Wild. Gets it in. Hartman keeps the line, gets it deep, and gets it back. Hartman at the point to Faber. Faber crosses it to, I think that's Johansson. Let's see. Actually, that's Spurgeon. Spurgeon gets it back to Faber. Penalty is over. Back to Spurgeon. Spurgeon shoots, tipped in, and it goes wide. Minnesota does keep possession. Johansson shoots, trying to get a deflection in front and can't. And the Dallas Stars are able to clear the zone. Dallas trying to fight for it, and they do. Faber gets it to Wallstead, to Spurgeon, back to Faber as the Wild regroup. Faber with a long stretch feed here to Hartman, who dumps the puck in, trying to get it to Marcus Foligno, and he can't. Looks like Tarasenko is able to hold it. Bogosian's now on the ice, gets it to Foligno, gets it to the point, shoots, it goes wide, it's below the goal line. Minnesota does keep it, and here come the Minnesota Wild. Back to Bogosian. Bogosian shoots it, and it looks like it was a take a deflection. Minnesota dumps it back to below the goal line. Tarasenko, or actually that's Nick Foligno, sends it back around the boards, and there's a stoppage in play. I think the net might have been jarred loose. Marcus Foligno and Leon Bichelle are going at it right now for Dallas and Minnesota, so very interesting to note there. Let's see here, and it looks like we're going to go to a stoppage in play. So it looks like we're going to get a TV timeout here, or maybe not. Just showing some of the highlights. Once again, the Johnston goal. And let's see here what else they're showing. Johnston scored once again. Yeah, we are going to a commercial break. Okay, so we are on a commercial break here. You are not missing anything. Stars and Wild currently tied 1 apiece. Some good pressure from the Minnesota Wild recently. But the Dallas Stars are able to keep this a 1-1 game. So very interesting to note there. We are very close to concluding the second period. The Oilers-Ducks game should start in about an hour. So we shall see how that goes. Around 8 p.m. Mountain Time is when the start time should be for Oilers and Ducks. So we shall wait and see how that game goes. Once again, I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the chat. Hold on a minute here, guys. Leave your thoughts in the chat. I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Let's see, thoughts in the chat. So I do appreciate you guys all for joining me here. I do hope you guys comment, subscribe, leave a chat down below. Would love to hear your guys' opinion on all that was discussed here so far. We're currently in a 1-1 game between the Wild and the Dallas Stars. So it's been a very interesting and exciting game so far. So very interesting to note there. Let's see some things here. That seems good. Okay, just give me a minute here, guys. Once again, this is a potential elimination game. So we shall wait and see how exactly this goes. Once again, they're just previewing tomorrow's Montreal-Tampa Bay game and Utah-Vegas game. So there's going to be a couple of very interesting games happening tomorrow. I will be live streaming Montreal-Tampa. We're back here. It looks like an offensive zone face-off draw here for the Minnesota Wild. 4:19 left here in the second period. And Minnesota is going to win the puck. They get back to Faber. Faber gets it deep for the Minnesota Wild, but it's a turnover, and Dallas has it in their own zone. They turn it over, and Minnesota is able to put it into the Dallas zone. Bork has it, passes it back to one of his defenders, and a stretch feed that goes a little bit too far, and it's an icing call on Dallas with 4:03 left here in the second period. So very interesting to note there. I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. We have 4 minutes left here in the second period, and then we'll be giving you guys the intermission report. I'll let you guys know a couple of things I was thinking about recently, and then some very interesting other stuff. Dallas wins the defensive zone faceoff draw, gets it to Johnson, I think that is. Shot, it goes somewhere, it's loose, and the Stars open the scoring again. Maverick Bork, a nice goal, and the Dallas Stars are now up 2-1. Dang it. Bork with a beautiful goal. Walston did not know where the puck was, and Bork is going to give the Stars a 2-1 advantage. So very interesting to note there. Let's change this up. Dallas is now up 2-1. Dang it. Okay. So Dallas has made this a 2-1 scoreline for Dallas. Wallstedt tried to save it, but Bork was able to outweigh Wallstedt. Bunting, it was a nice shot from Bunting. Wallstedt stopped it, tried to slide too far, and Bork was able to put it home as well. Now the Dallas Stars lead this game 2-1. So very interesting out there, but the Stars are now up 2-1. So Bork with the go-ahead goal, and he was able to put it past a whole bunch of bodies, and Dallas is now up 2-1. So very interesting to note there. Face-off draw in the neutral zone, and Dallas is able to win it with 3:50 left in the second period. Dallas trying to get some sort of possession time, and Minnesota is offside, so they have to tag up. And Dallas is going to touch it into the offensive zone. And the puck goes for icing, it looks like here. So very interesting out there, but offensive zone face-off draw now for the Dallas Stars. Let's see here. Once again, they're just showing the replay. Bushkin tried to get it. Bork went around. I think that was Matt Zuccarello, and was just able to push it past Jesper Wallstedt. So good stuff there. We'll see how good of a push Minnesota Wild have after now trailing 2-1 after opening the scoring. Let's see. Minnesota has it. Faber tries to get it to Quinn Hughes, but can't, and the puck goes out of the zone. Hughes tries to send it in, and he does, but once again, Dallas is able to intercept it. Harley has it. Harley, a couple of nice passes. They have to regain possession into their own zone. Nice hit from Trinian, and the Dallas Stars are able to send it down. Dallas, nice play there. Wallsted's got it to, I think that's Faber, and Faber is going to send it to Quinn Hughes. Hughes to McCarron. And here comes the Minnesota Wild trying to set something up. Nice backhand pass to below the goal line. McCarron fighting for it along with Tarasenko. And the Wild are able to keep it. Hughes with a shot. Yay! That looks like Vladimir Tarasenko. And just a couple of minutes after the Minnesota Wild made this, the Dallas Stars made this a 2-1 game, Tarasenko, backhand feed into a yawning cage, has made this a 2-2 game for the Minnesota Wild, and Minnesota is once again buzzing. What a goal from Tarasenko from his knees. He finds the loose puck and backhands it in. Once again, here's McCarron and Heiskanen fighting for it, and a shot, and Tarasenko just had nothing but net. Onger, just like Wallstedt in that last goal, was way out of position. And let's see here, the Minnesota Wild are going to go up to 2. A huge goal from Vladimir Tarasenko, and this game's back to being tied. So a huge goal there from Tarasenko, and the Wild are back in this thing, 2-2 game. Once again, 2:58 left in the second period. It's the 50th career postseason goal from Vladimir Tarasenko, first in this series, so couldn't come at a bigger time. Dallas gets it back into the Minnesota zone, trying to get there, and they can't. Now here comes Minnesota a little bit again. Marcus Johansson trying to get around Leon Bichelle, can't. Fight for it along the boards. A couple of Stars and Wild players. Boldy has it now, loops it back around, trying to get along the boards, and Boldy can't. Eriksson got it now at the point. Gets it back to below the goal line. Eriksson trying to fight for it and can't. Dallas now has it. Robertson takes it, tips it into the Minnesota zone, and that's going to be an icing call with 2:22 left in the second period. So once again, a huge goal from Vladimir Tarasenko. 2-2 game with 2:22 left here in the second period. So very interesting to note there. Once again, Robertson and Bischel. Let's see how this is all going here, as shots are currently 13-12 for the Minnesota Wild over the Dallas Stars. Hartman's got it here in the faceoff dot. And let's see here. And the Wild do win it. Back to the point. Faber's got it. Trying to get it back to Quinn Hughes. Can't. And he's going to loop back around. Does get to the point to, I think that's Quinn Hughes. Hughes back to Faber. They've swapped spots. Back to Zuccarello, trying to outweight some people. He does have it. He gets it back to, I think that's Kaprizov. Kaprizov back below the goal line. And now I think that's Quinn Hughes fighting for it. Bischel's sort of bear hugging him. Once again, Wild and Stars fighting for it along the corner. And Hughes is going to be able to get it out. And Dallas is going to be able to get it. Here comes Minnesota. They keep it in. Hartman to Hughes. Hughes walks around the goal line. Gets it to the other side. Hughes to the point. Faber shoots. And it looks like it was blocked. Dallas is going to dump it down. And Faber chases after it. Minute and a half left here in the second period. Faber with a long stretch feed. And the Minnesota Wild enter the offensive zone. And they have to tag up. They're offside. And now Dallas is able to get possession. Onger to Lindell, as Lindell is in his own zone. A minute, 16 seconds left in the second period. Gets it to Bischel. Bischel to Lindell. Lindell to... And now Dallas has it, shoots, and it's stopped by Wallstead, and I think that might have been an offside call. Let's see. Once again, Hughes frustrated with himself after a couple of nice chances. And once again, this game is going to stay tied for the minute here. Once again, they're just showing Hughes around the net, and then he went to the point and got across. It was a nice block there from Mikko Rantanen that got it out of the zone. So huge stuff there from the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars, as it's still a 2-2 game. Quinn Hughes so far has a goal and 6 assists, 7 points. It's already most in the series by a Wild defenseman in franchise history. So Hughes is having himself a historic run with Minnesota in this year's postseason. Let's see here. Minnesota in the defensive zone is not able to win it. Bach gets it back to Harley. Harley shoots. It's blocked. Minnesota is able to get possession of the puck. They backhand it into the neutral zone. And Foligno is going to just dump it into the offensive zone. Andre behind his net gets it to one of his defenders, gets it to Steele, who gets it to the other side, and the Stars are going to have it in the neutral zone. Gets it to the red line, dumps it in. Minnesota's going to go possession. Middleton to Spurgeon with 40 seconds left in the second period. Spurgeon, nice feed there, and the Wild are able to keep possession in the offensive zone. Sturm's got it. Sturm is going to lay a big hit on Harley, or actually I think that was one of the Foligno brothers. And Heiskanen now has it on the other side. Heiskanen to Harley. Harley stopping up, 25 seconds left here in the second period. Harley sends it into the offensive zone, and here comes Ilya Lyubushkin. Lyubushkin takes it, and Lyubushkin trying to get something in, and he's trying to get it. There's a puck in front. It's loose. And Wallstead looks like he's going to be able to hold on to it with 8 seconds left in the second period, and some more scrums are happening right in front of Jesper Wallstead. 8 seconds left in the second period, and the Dallas Stars are going to have an offensive zone face-off draw here. Just showing the highlights. Ryskovien tried to feed it to Bork. Could not get there. The puck did get to Bork. Bork tried a backhand shot, but was stopped by Wallstead. And Wallstead was able to cover up. So, smart play there from Jesper Wallstead to cover up the puck and hold on. There's once again just 8 seconds left here in the second period. And then this period will be going here to intermission. Once again, the scoring in the second period, Johnston was able to tie the game up after the Hughes goal in the first period. Then Maverick Bork made it a 2-1 Stars lead. And then Tarasenko was tied up for the Minnesota Wild. So, very interesting note there. 2-2 game. Minnesota trying to advance to the second round, and Dallas trying to hold on and keep their playoff hopes alive. And Minnesota's going to win the zone, win the draw to get around the boards, and they get it into the Dallas zone, and 1-0, that's going to be it. Second period is over, and this is going to be a game that goes into intermission in 2-2 form. So, very interesting note there. Let's change this to intermission. Just give me a second here, guys. This is going to go to intermission. Let's see. And it's going to go to intermission. So very interesting to note there. Let's change this. And that is good. Okay. So it's intermission right now between the Stars and the Wild, and was so far a 2-2 game. Once again, we'll give you the breakdown of the intermission report here, and then we'll go over a couple of other things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Let's first go over here to the intermission report. So the shots are currently 14-13 for the Dallas Stars in what is a 2-2 game right now between the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild. Scoring summary. In the first period, Quinn Hughes opened the scoring 6 minutes into the game to give the Minnesota Wild a 1-0 lead. And then in the second period, Johnson would score a power play goal for one of the most lethal power plays in the entire NHL from Rantanen and Duchesne. That would give them that would tie the game up at 7 minutes left, 7 minutes into the second period. Then, off of a little bit of a deflection, Bourque would score a goal from Bunting and Lyubushkin with 3:52 left in the second period. That would give the Dallas Stars a 2-1 lead. And then Vladimir Tarasenko from Trenton and Hughes, less than a minute later, 54 seconds actually, to be exact later, Tarasenko would score from Trenton and Hughes to tie the game up, and that is where we sit in intermission, a 2-2 game between the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild. Current other stats here, the Stars are still heavily being out face-offed by the Minnesota Wild. The Wild have won 27 of 43 face-offs for 62.8%, so they are currently the better face-off team. Currently, the Stars are 1-for-1 on the power play, and the Wild are 0-for-2, so Stars have capitalized on their power play opportunity, and the Wild have not been able to hit a power play goal. Penalty minutes, once again, of course, Stars have 4 and the Wild have 2. Hits currently are being led by the Dallas Stars. They have 27 hits to Minnesota's 26. Blocked shots are currently 10-9 in favor of the Dallas Stars. Giveaways are 8 apiece. And takeaways are 3-2 in favor of the Dallas Stars. So Stars do lead in a couple of stats. Faceoffs have been predominantly in the Minnesota Wild favor, but it is currently still a 2-2 game. So very interesting note there. Once again, later today we will have a game here between the Edmonton Oilers and the Anaheim Ducks. This is a very interesting one. That series has been highly entertaining. Game one between those two teams was great. Anaheim had a 3-2 lead entering the third period, where in the third period, a couple of goals from Edmonton, one from Kapanen and one from Dickinson, was able to give the Edmonton Oilers a 4-3 lead, and they wound up winning the game. Then the next game was Anaheim's game to lose. They got a 3-1, I think, lead. I think they got a 4-2 lead. They will blow it, but they would score a late tie-breaking goal, and I think Paul had an empty netter to win 6-4 over the Edmonton Oilers. Then in Game 3, a game I streamed last week, the Anaheim Ducks were able to score a couple of early third period goals after a 3-3 tie entering the third period, and they would hold on for a 7-4 victory, which would give them a 2-1 lead. Then they would overcome 2-0 and 3-2 deficits to storm back and win 4-3 in overtime in Game 4 to give them a 3-1 advantage over the Edmonton Oilers. And then last game, the Oilers start out like that, scoring 3 goals in the first period and really cruise to a 4-1 victory over the Anaheim Ducks, chasing Lucas Dostal, so that's very interesting note there. I am expecting Dostal to have a monster of a game. We've seen that with Swayman and Andre earlier in the year when they got pulled in the postseason. The following game, those two put up elite numbers. I'm expecting a similar situation here with Dostal, as I expect Dostal to be a backbone of a Ducks win to advance them to round 2. So very interesting to note there. So once again, those are the 2 games that are going to be going here today. We're going to have the conclusion of Dallas, Minnesota, and then later tonight in about an hour, maybe closer to an hour, maybe closer to 45 minutes, we will have Edmonton Anaheim playing later tonight, so that's going to be a very interesting game. Last night we saw 3 games. The Habs broke a tie in the third period and held on for a 3-2 victory over the Tampa Bay Lightning, as they now own a 3-2 series lead heading into Game 6 tomorrow, a game in which I will be streaming, so that'll be very interesting. The Penguins and Flyers were scoreless entering overtime in a do-or-die game for Pittsburgh, but the Penguins unfortunately died as the Philadelphia Flyers were able to score a go-ahead goal in overtime thanks to Cam York point shot. Vladar stopped all 42 shots he faced. Silovs was pretty good too, but the Flyers were able to get the dagger as they advanced to round 2 to face the Carolina Hurricanes. And then, of course, last night, the Mammoths and Knights had a very good back and forth game. The Mammoths were able to open the scoring. The Knights were able to get a 3-2 lead in that game. Going into the third period, Utah scored a couple of third period goals to get them a 4-3 lead. Dorofia's hat trick goal tied it up in the later stages of the fourth period with the goalie pulls. And then in overtime, nothing was solved. It went to double overtime, where in double overtime, the Vegas Golden Knights were able to get to the goal-ahead goal thanks to Brett Howden in Game 5 to give them a 3-2 series lead heading to Utah tomorrow. So a couple of very interesting series are going to be happening tomorrow. Montreal is going to be going home to host the Tampa Bay Lightning. Habs are going to be looking to close out the series on home ice and advance to round 2 for the first time since that year they went to the Stanley Cup Final to face the Tampa Bay Lightning. So Habs are going to be looking to end the series and end the Tampa Bay Lightning's playoff chances and Stanley Cup chances. The Sabres are going to be looking to do the same thing going into Boston tomorrow to face the Boston Bruins. Another very interesting game in which I do think Buffalo is going to be well positioned to win, as Boston has lost 5 consecutive games on home ice in the postseason, including the Game 3 and Game 4 earlier in the series. So I am expecting a Buffalo win there tomorrow. And then on top of that, we do have the Knights and Mammoth in the evening. I'm expecting a Knights victory, or I'm expecting a Mammoth victory to send it to 7. I think that series can go 7. If the script stays the same as it has been as the Knights' first-round series last year, the Knights should probably win. But that's going to be a very interesting one. So if either of these two series tonight, the losing team wins, those Game 7s will be happening on Saturday. If any of tomorrow's games wind up heading to Game 7, those games will be happening on Sunday. So those are sorts of games. Like I said, we'll be doing the live stream tomorrow between Montreal and Tampa. Not sure about the weekend. A, don't know how many Game 7s there are going to be. And B, the weekend's usually a pretty busy time for me. So I'm not going to make any promises for live streams happening on the weekend. But I'm definitely going to be doing Montreal-Tampa tomorrow. So very interesting note there. Really quickly, I just wanted to discuss with you guys a couple of interesting stats I found. So with all of these 3-2 series, in which we had 6 this year, I sort of wanted to see over the last 5 years how important a 3-2 series lead was for the team who had the 3-2 series lead. So over the past 5 years, there were 48 series who had 3-2 series lead in it. So once again, it wasn't a 4-1 series, it wasn't a 4-0 series, it was a 3-2 series at the 5-game mark. So of those 48 series, 27 of them ended in 6 games. So the team who was up 3-2 got the job done in Game 6. 14 of those series wound up facing into Game 7. Hello, Marshall. I do appreciate you for joining the stream. Once again, you're not missing anything. We are in intermission. The Minnesota Wild opened the scoring in the first period thanks to Quinn Hughes. And then Dallas scored a couple of goals in the second. Johnson and Bork. Johnson on the power play to give themselves a 2-1 advantage. But then in the later stages of the second period, Vladimir Tarasenko has scored to tie this game up. And as we're sitting right now in intermission, we are going to be in intermission for about the next 9-ish minutes. And then we're going to be going over to the third period. So I do appreciate you for tuning in. Once again, we are, like I said, I was looking at some stats about how 3-2 series leads are really impactful over the last 5 years. Over the past 5 years, 48 series were 3-2 after the 5th game. And in 27 of those 48 series, the series wound up finishing in 6 games. In 14 of those series, the team who was leading 3-2 at the 5-game mark wound up winning the series in 7 games. They would lose Game 6 but win Game 7. Only 7 times in the last 5 years has a team who was up 3-2 lost the series in 7. So it's very, very likely that the teams who are currently up 3-2 in their series, whether it's in Game 6 or Game 7, will most likely wind up advancing to round 2. It seems like over the past 5 years, 85% of teams who hold a 3-2 lead going into the 6th game wind up advancing, whether it's in Game 6 or Game 7. So we'll see if there's any sort of outliers this year for a potential option for our team to win Game 6, Game 7, who was trailing 3-2. So it'll be very interesting note there, but we're seeing if Minnesota is going to be able tonight to advance to their first second-round appearance. And I think, well, over years, it has been over a decade since Minnesota has been able to get to the postseason. So yes, it's going to be another close game. Once again, just to remind you guys, I am having another live stream tomorrow at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. I am going to be doing Habs versus Bolts. That is going to be one heck of a game tomorrow. I do think that is going to be a very interesting one. Habs had the opportunity to close out Tampa. Tampa is going to try and send it to a game 7 on Sunday. So I am going to be doing another live stream tomorrow that I hope you guys all tune in for. And yeah, it's been a very interesting game so far. Like we talked about, Quinn Hughes opened the scoring in the first period to give the Minnesota Wild one single lead. That's the way it went into the first intermission. Then coming out of the second intermission, coming out of the first intermission, the Dallas Stars were able to get a power play, and Johnson was able to light the lamp on the power play. That power play has been extra lethal all season long for the Dallas Stars, and that has given them a 1-1 tie. Then a little bit later into the second period, Maverick Bourque would score off of a weird deflection. Came out to him, he had a wide open net, and he was able to put it in. That gave the Dallas Stars a 2-1 lead, but then just under a minute after Bourque made it 2-1, Vladimir Tarasenko from his knees, a backhander into a yawning cage after Onger slid way too far to the side, would give the Minnesota Wild a goal to tie the game up at 2 apiece, and that's where we sit right now. So once again, in about 6.5 minutes, I will be continuing with the play-by-play, but right now we are in intermission. There is another game happening later tonight. It should be happening in between half an hour to 45 minutes from now, and that is Edmonton-Anaheim. The Ducks are going to be looking for the second time in this series to close out the Edmonton Oilers, and the Oilers are going to be looking to send the series back to Edmonton. After being pulled in last game, I am expecting a monumental result from Lukas Dostal. We've seen that in the postseason and earlier in the series with Jake Onger, and we've seen it on top of that, just a couple games ago from Jeremy Swayman. They both got pulled, Onger in game 1, Swayman in game 4 after getting lit up. And what happened the next game? Onger stopped only everything but 2 shots and was able to get the Dallas Stars the victory. And Swayman was able to stop all but 1 shot last game and get the St. Bruins the victory to keep them alive. So with Dostal being pulled last game and him being confirmed to be starting this game, I am expecting Dostal to have a huge game. The one difference maker we've talked about entering this series between Anaheim and Edmonton was that the Ducks had a legit top 15 sort of goaltender in the NHL in Lukas Dostal when he's on his game. He's one of the best goaltenders in the entire NHL when he's playing his game, but we haven't seen that from him this series against the Edmonton Oilers. So I'm expecting Dostal to have a phenomenal performance in net, and I'm expecting the Ducks to probably win. If Dostal's playing on his game and the Oilers can't get anything by him, I'm definitely expecting the Anaheim Ducks to end this series tonight. So we shall wait and see what happens there. Once again, we're about 5 minutes away from the start of the third period, so I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Once again, very interesting game so far between the Wild and Stars teams. Stars trying to send it back to a game 7 on Saturday back in Texas in Dallas, and Minnesota trying to advance to their first second round appearance for the first time in 12 seasons and looking to set up a date with the Colorado Avalanche potentially at the start of next week. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens here. I personally did pick in my predictions Minnesota in 6 games. So I am predicting the Minnesota Wild to win. I was really hoping the Minnesota Wild would win. Once again, the Dallas Stars are a very stingy team. I would not be shocked if the Dallas Stars were able to send this thing to a 7th game. But I am really, really hoping for Minnesota. So once again, Minnesota was my team who I picked to come out of the series. They are my Stanley Cup favorites. So I'm really hoping they just get the job done here, get this done, and go face Colorado. Because I think the winner of this series is going to take out Colorado. Once again, I am a full believer of the President's Trophy curse. Usually a team who hits 120 points in the past, since the turn of the century, does not get out of round 2. So I'm going to go with those stats and say that whoever wins this series advances to the conference final past Colorado. Once again, maybe the Avalanche are a little bit different, but I really do think that whoever wins this series has a really, really good chance to get past Colorado and advance to round 2. So I'm really hoping that is Minnesota, and I'm hoping they're able to do it tonight here on home ice. Once again, it's been very, very entertaining. We're about 3-ish minutes away from the start of the third period, so very interesting to note there. We should have another game tomorrow, like I just mentioned, Montreal, Tampa Bay. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on all the games that happened last night. The Philadelphia Flyers won a 1-0 overtime victory over the Pittsburgh Penguins to end the series. The Montreal Canadiens with 3-2 over Tampa. That was able to get them the series victory. And that was able to get them the series lead, 3-2 going into tomorrow's game. And the Vegas Golden Knights won a double overtime thriller over the Utah Mammoth, 5-4, again to take the 3-2 series lead and be very, very close to advancing. If they are able to win tomorrow, they will advance. So, so very interesting note there. We'll just get back to the game action. Once again, you're not missing anything. We are just about to start the third period. So once again, I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Let's see here. Hold on a minute here, guys. Once again, Edmonton and Anaheim will be starting in the very near future. Should be in the last commercial break before the start of the third period. So that's going to be very interesting to note there. Once again, just the commercials right now, and then we should be back here for the third period. So good stuff there so far from this game. This has been a very entertaining game. Once again, if you guys haven't already, I am going to be posting a couple of videos after tonight's game. I was just trying to do a couple of them before tonight's live stream, but I was not able to. So we will have a fan reaction and a game recap coming out after tonight's game, as well as a power rankings. I was trying to get that power rankings posted earlier today, but was not able to, so it is a little bit outdated. But we do have a very interesting power rankings coming up that will be posted after the live stream. So I hope you guys are able to tune in for that. But we should have a couple of interesting videos coming over the next couple of days. I do plan on trying to at least post an off-season preview video tomorrow, looking at the Blues and the Red Wings. So I'm hoping that I'm able to get that one out. I've already recorded it, just have to edit it. And we should have another fan reaction and game recap tomorrow. And then we should hopefully have like a trade rumor video and a game recap and fan reaction on Saturday. And once again, I'm not sure how Saturday and Sunday will go. I'm hoping I can be able to do 1 or 2 game sevens. Once again, they depend on which day they are, and they depend on how many game sevens there are. Like, there might not be very many game sevens on the weekends, so we shall wait and see on that. I'm not going to say it's a guarantee by any means that we do any game sevens, but I will try to, so I hope you guys do tune in for that. And I do thank you guys all for your support. We are just about to start the third period here for Minnesota and Dallas in what is currently a 2-2 game. So, very interesting to note there. I hope you guys all tune in. And we should be getting going here in just the next couple of minutes. They're just showing the stadium here. And then they should be getting going. So we are about to start here between Minnesota and Dallas. So I love your guys' thoughts. If you were surprised by any of the scorelines from yesterday, Philadelphia shutting out Pittsburgh, Montreal taking the series lead over Tampa, and Vegas coming from behind to take down Utah. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on those 3 games down below in the chat. And once again, if you guys can, leave a subscribe, leave a comment, and leave a like. Tell all your friends best hockey content on YouTube is right here at the End to End Hockey channel. So if you can, leave a subscribe. We're trying to hit 750 in the next couple of weeks. And then we'll also be having a live stream on Tuesday for the draft lottery. I do one of these every year. So it'll only be about a half an hour live stream, and it shouldn't be too long on Tuesday. I don't remember exactly what time the draft lottery was. I can't remember if it was 4 or 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So we have to figure that out first, but I will be having a draft lottery live stream next Tuesday. So I hope you guys all tune in for that too, so we can figure out which team winds up getting the first overall pick in this upcoming year's draft. Will it be Vancouver? Or will it be another team? So very interesting out there. No problem, Marshall. If you just tune in whenever you can, I do appreciate it. So no problem. Once again, they're just showing some of the highlights from that second period. The Tarasenko goal, the Bork goal, the Johnston goal. So you are not missing a thing. And we are back here for the start of the third period. They're just about to drop the puck. So let's move this over here. And once again, that Edmonton-Anaheim game should be starting in about half an hour. So that will be very, very interesting. Let's see here. Once again, they're just talking to the reporters. So not missing anything right now. And they're just about to start. Once again, Minnesota fans are up on their feet, waving their towels, trying to will their team to their first postseason advancement in 12 years. So let's change this to the third period. Let's see here, third period. Good there. Let's change this over into the middle. And we are underway in the third period. The Stars have possession of the puck. And here comes Minnesota. They got possession in their own zone. Faber backtracks it to Eriksson. Eriksson along the boards to Johansson. And Johansson gets it in, and it's dumped in by one of the Wild players. Boldy goes in after it against Heiskanen. Heiskanen gets it to one of his D partners, and that's sent all the way down the ice, and it's going to be an icing call in Dallas. And Eriksson is hunched over along the boards. I don't know what happened, but he is slow to get up, and he is Not looking good. That is not good for Minnesota. Eriksson, I think, took a big hit along the boards. That is not good whatsoever. Eriksson getting helped off the ice. Let's see what happened here. He went after puck with Harley. Oh, he lost an edge. His skate sort of gave out on him. He took the corner too hard and he fell right into the boards and he's being helped off the ice. That does not look good. I don't know if Eriksson is going to be back for this game or not, but yeah, he's being helped into the tunnel by a couple of trainers. That is not good whatsoever for Minnesota Wild, a team who does not have a terrible amount of defensive of center depth to begin with. Hartman now out there against Rantanen, and Hartman is able to win it. Gets it to Quinn Hughes. Hughes back to Faber. Faber with a shot. It goes wide, and trying to deflect it in was one of the Wild players, but they couldn't. Zuccarello gets it back to the point to Faber. Faber to Hughes at the point. Hughes trying to keep it in, and he does. Tipped in, but Dallas is able to gain possession, and Dallas is going to flip it out of the zone, and it goes into the neutral zone. Dallas, Minnesota fighting for it. Dallas is offside. They have to take up. So Johnston just dumps it into the Minnesota Wild zone, and Minnesota is going to stop up. Hughes is going to hit a deflection, and Bork brings it into the offensive zone. Maverick Bork shoots. Stopped by Wallstedt, and he's going to cover up. And a couple of people pushing and shoving once again right beside Wallstedt. So very interesting to note there. Once again, they're just showing the injury. It looks like Eric's neck sort of like hyperextended his leg or something like that. Not good news there. And he went down the tunnel. I'm not sure if he'll be returning tonight or not, but that did not look good for Joel Eriksson Ek. So good stuff there. Just viewing up John Hines right now. Offense's zone face-off draw here for Dallas after the puck was covered by Wallstedt. Spurgeon's got it across to Tarasenko. Tarasenko flips it into the neutral zone, and here comes Minnesota. Here comes Michael McCarron, who does have a couple goals in this series. McCarron fighting for the puck below the goal line, loses it, and Lyubushkin is able to get it. Lyubushkin sends it. Tarasenko holds the line across to McCarron. McCarron sends it in for Trenyon. Trenyon going after it against Lindell, and Lindell is able to get it to one of the Stars players. And they are not able to keep the line. Minnesota does gain possession, though, and dump it back into the Dallas zone. Andre leaves it for Lyubushkin as he stops up. Behind his net, a minute 40 gone in the third period. Dallas is stopping up here. Lindell, he's got it behind the goal line, and he's looking for a passing lane. He skates beside Onger, trying to get away from a couple Wild players, and he sends it into the Wild zone, and Hughes is able to get there. Hughes fighting for it along with a couple of the Stars players. They fight for it on the wall. Hartman gets it out, and this is going to go into the Stars zone, and icing is the call on the Minnesota Wild. So offense is on face-off draw for Dallas with 17:54 left in the third period. Shots are now 15-13 in favor of the Dallas Stars. So very interesting to note there. 17:54 left in the third period. Once again, offenses on face-off draw coming for Dallas after the icing by the Minnesota Wild. So Faber has to stay out there. Total miles skated this postseason. Hughes and Faber are amongst the leaders of the players in the NHL postseason. Once again, it goes around the net for Minnesota, and Hughes is able to intercept it, pick it off. Gets it to Foligno, who just dumps it into the offensive zone. Sturm goes after it. Sturm trying to get away from a couple of Stars players, shoots, trying to tuck it in, and they can't. Foligno goes after it, gets it to his brother, Nick Foligno, trying to get around, can't. Marcus Foligno now fighting for it with Nick Foligno. Dallas gets it, and they send it into the neutral zone, and it goes back into the Minnesota Wild zone. Hughes stops to get it. Hughes with a nice send-off to Hartman. Hartman back to Hughes. Hughes stops up in his own zone, trying to set something up. Hughes gets it across to Faber. Faber sends it deep, and Minnesota can't hold the line. And here comes Dallas. Bork streaking in, shoots, and it's stopped. It goes around the boards, and Minnesota is able to clear. Nice clear from Minnesota, and Boldy is able to stay on side. Boldy in the offensive zone gets it, and he is going to be taken down by Heiskanen and fighting for it while he's on his rear, trying to get to it. Harley and Heiskanen, along with Boldy and Hartman, are out there, and the puck is going to be stopped, I think. I don't know exactly what the stoppage was. I think it might have been that the referee lost sight of the puck. So very interesting to note there. Once again, just showing the highlights. Boldy tried to get in, shoots, and he was just taken down to the ice by Miro Heiskanen. He tried to hold that puck, and it looks like he's going back to the bench now. So, interesting note there. He got taken down by Heiskanen, and Very interesting note there. 16:45 left in the third period. It is a 2-2 game. There is a neutral zone faceoff draw now for the Minnesota Wild. They lose it. Dallas gets it at the neutral zone, and it's dumped in. Faber has it below the goal line, gets it to Hughes. Hughes trying to stop up, get some space, can't. Now he does create some space, and Hughes making some people miss, gets it into the offensive zone. Nice tip in by Kaprizov. And now they go after it. Andre leaves it for Bushkin. Fighting for it is Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Minnesota is able to Faber elevates. Kaprizov gets it back to Quinn Hughes along the point, making some people miss, trying to get some sort of shooting lane. Shoots! It's tipped just wide on Ottinger, and the Dallas Stars are able to get there, and they clear the puck down the ice. It's taken on the neutral zone by Dallas, and they're trying to get something going, and there's a fight for the puck, and Hughes is able to get there, and Hughes is going to send someone going. And now here's Zuccarello in the offensive zone, brings it in. Rantanen trying to fight for it, can't. Kaprizov fighting for it, can't get it. And now it goes all the way down, or actually there's a penalty, I think, upcoming on someone. Yep, there's a penalty on a Dallas Stars player. Minnesota's about to get a power play. Kaprizov is hunched over going to the bench. That is not good. So there will be a power play upcoming. 15 and a half minutes left here in the third period as Minnesota gets the goalie off for the extra attacker. Just waiting below the goal line now. 15:21 left in the third period. Minnesota trying to get something going, and they're able to get to Johansson. Johansson sends it in, gets it across to Tarasenko, who gets it to the point, across to Boldy. Boldy taking it, gets it across, cannot, and now they go back into the defensive zone. Kaprizov trying to feel out his neck after some sort of penalty. Boldy is going to loop back in the defensive zone, gets to Johansson. Johansson trying to set something up in the defensive zone, gets it to Spurgeon, and Spurgeon is going to get into the neutral zone, get to the red line, and he's going to do a little bit of a chip pass. It's touched up by Bichelle with 14:42 left in the third period. The Minnesota Wild are going to go to the power play. I don't know what the penalty was. I didn't see it. Let's see. Rantanen was fighting for it, and it just looks like his stick got tangled up with Zuccarello's. So that's what it looked like. And then Petrovic took a hit on Kaprizov. And then, it looks like Rantanen might have had an elbowing call on Kaprizov. Let's see here. And let's see what happened exactly. Oh, yeah, he cross-checked him to the face. Oh, that must have hurt Kaprizov. Yeah, his stick caught Kaprizov up high. So that's not overly good news there. Ran into the penalty box. 2-minute power play for Minnesota in a 2-2 game, and Kaprizov is back out there on the ice trying to help this Minnesota Wild team get the go-ahead goal and potentially punch their ticket to round 2. Hughes and Hartman are both fighting for it right now. Hughes and Hartman are both talking about the face-off. Kaprizov's out there, so is Zuccarello, so is Boldy. So those are the 5 guys on the ice here for Minnesota. And now in the face-off, Dawes Hartman, who is going to win the puck and they get it back to the point. Faber Hughes actually trying to get it to, I think that's Kaprizov. Back to Hughes. Back to Kaprizov. Trying to tip in front. Can't. Boldy's got below the goal line. Back to Kaprizov. Kaprizov loses the puck. Gets it to Hughes, though. Hughes trying to get some sort of passing lane. Gets it to Kaprizov. Gets it to Boldy. Boldy back to Kaprizov. Kaprizov shoots. Tipped in front. Can't get there. And Dallas is going to clear the zone with a minute and a half to go left in the power play. And about 14 minutes left here in the third period. Hughes got it. Quinn Hughes is going to lose possession of the puck, but they do get it back, and Boldy gets it to Zuccarello. Zuccarello across. Here comes Kaprizov. Kaprizov to Boldy, tries to get to Hartman, and he can't get all of it on the shot. They get back to Hughes. Hughes at the point, trying to get some sort of passing lane going, gets it to Zuccarello. Zuccarello to Boldy. Boldy is going to skate along the boards, gets it to Zuccarello, loses it. That's a chase for the puck, and Zuccarello is able to get there first. 58 seconds left on the power play for the Minnesota Wild. Zuccarello is going to pass it back to Boldy. Boldy to, I think that's Hartman, who loses the puck. Now maybe a little bit of a shorthanded chance here for Dallas. Hughes is riding along with him, trying to get across. Shot, it's blocked, and the Dallas Stars are able to follow up, but Minnesota is able to get there, and there's a penalty upcoming, I think a slash on one of the Minnesota Wild players. So that should mean that this is going to be 4-4 for 41 seconds, and then Dallas is going to get their lethal power play unit back up there. Let's see. Once again, Bach with another nice try, and it looks like I think it was Hartman who had a little bit of a whack on his stick of Fox to get that puck away. So I think this is, yep, 4-on-4 hockey for 41 seconds and then a minute and 19 seconds of power play time for Dallas. So Dallas has been able to successfully kill off their end of the penalty, and we'll see how this one finishes out. Hartman is in the box right now for Minnesota. So let's see. Once again, Minnesota Wild fans looking on, trying to will their team to victory and their first second-round appearance in 12 seasons. Zuccarello, Kaprizov, Boldy, and Hughes are on the ice for Minnesota. Steele, Bach, Lindell, and Harley for the Stars. And the Wild are going to loop it back into their own zone. I think that's Boldy. And Boldy is going to get it to, or actually Spurgeon. And Spurgeon's going to get it to Johansson. Johansson skating up. He's got a little bit of room here now that it's 4-on-4. Johansson stops up. Gets it to the point. Across to Quinn Hughes. Hughes has it. Shoots. Stop. Rebound. Can't find it. And the Minnesota Wild try and keep it in, and they can't. And now here comes the Dallas Stars, but Johansson takes it away. Johansson in his own zone with 10 seconds left on the 4-on-4. Hughes gets it now, and Hughes just going to skate back into his own zone. 3 seconds left. And now it's a power play for Dallas. Minnesota's just going to stay below the goal line. Faber's got it. Faber has it. And he's going to send it the lengths of the ice right on Onger. It goes wide. Onger sends it to Heiskanen. And now a minute left on the power play for Dallas. They're 1-for-1 with one shot on goal tonight on their power play, and it has been lethal all series long. Here comes Dallas. Rantanen to... Oh, it's intercepted. Might be a little bit of a shorthanded break here. Sturm, the loses the puck. And now here comes Dallas. Duchesne to Robertson. Robertson looking for some sort of passing lane. Gets it to the point to Heiskanen. Heiskanen gets it to Duchesne. Duchesne gets it to Rantanen. Rantanen has it. Looking for some sort of passing lane. Can't find it. Sturm with a nice stick. Goes to the corner. Dallas keeps possession for the time being. Sturm fighting for it, and they can't get there. And now they get the clear. 30 seconds left in the power play for Dallas. 11:50 left in the third period. 26 seconds left as Dallas comes racing up the center ice. Heiskanen drops it for, I think that's Rantanen, or actually it's Duchesne. Duchesne in for Johnston. Johnston loses the puck. Rantanen gets it back to 13 seconds left on the power play. Rantanen to Heiskanen, back across the other side, shoots, and that one was blocked by Minnesota. They clear the zone, and that's going to do it for the power play. An excellent kill for Minnesota against the league's best power play unit in the postseason. So very interesting note there. Dallas coming up the middle of the ice, gets a pass across. Dallas looking for a shot. They put it in front, trying to jam away at it. Walsall with a nice stop, and Minnesota trying to get the puck below the goal line. Here's Johnston. Johnston trying to get to it. They do it to the point. Lindell shoots, and it's stopped by Minnesota. And Foligno gets the clear to Boldy, trying to get some sort of passing lane, and Minnesota can't get there. Dallas is offside, so they have to tag up. They pass it back into their own zone. Dallas is going to get the puck back, and here comes a little bit of a break. Bunting to Ben, shoots, and that one looks like it went wide. Fighting for it along the boards. Again, Dallas is able to keep it in the zone for a few seconds. Now Minnesota's got back, and Trennan is going to sort some things up. Trennan has it, looking for some sort of passing lane, and he has it taken away by one of the Dallas players. Here's Sam Steele in, along, shoots, stopped by Wallstead. What a stop, going cross ice to stop that pass, and a nice shot from Colin Blackwell, but a nicer stop from Jesper Wallstead. Huge stop there from Wallstead to keep this game a 2-2 scoreline. Blackwell with a nice stop. He almost snuck it by Wallstead, but Wallstead was able to do enough to keep that puck out of the net. Once again, commercial breaks, you're not missing anything. Just over 10 minutes left in the third period in a 2-2 game between the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild. So that's going to be very interesting. Once again, we have 3 games tomorrow night. We have Montreal-Tampa, a game which I will be streaming. And then you also have Boston-Buffalo and Utah-Vegas later on in the day. Later today, in about 10 to 15 minutes time, we will have Edmonton take on Anaheim. That'll be a very interesting one. And then potential Game 7s will go on Saturday and Sunday. I'll see if I can do a couple of them. Not going to guarantee anything at this point in time. We don't even know if there's going to be any Game 7s. But I will try and do a couple of Game 7s on the weekend, so we shall see. Once again, I really do appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I thank you for that. I hope you guys all tune in tomorrow. Once again, we should also have a couple of videos after the stream coming out. Whether that's another fan reaction, another game recap, or some power rankings. So I do hope you guys Check the channel for more content coming out in the very near future. But this has been a very interesting game, a very good game, close, tight, contested game like it has been all series long. Besides that first game in which Minnesota throttled Dallas 6-1, a destroyment of Dallas Stars, since then it's been pretty close. 4-2 Dallas win, 4-3 in double overtime Dallas win, 3-2 in overtime Minnesota win, and then 4-2 Minnesota win. So it's been very, very close in this series like a lot of people have been expecting, and this game's no different, 2-2 game. And so we shall see who is able to come away on top. Is it Minnesota or is it Dallas? There's 10:25 left in the third period, and it's a 2-2 game, and we are back here as we're just about to get back into the call. It looks like Eric Sneck is skating back onto the ice. That is huge news for Minnesota because he went into the boards awkwardly a couple of minutes ago. So him being back on the ice, skating on it, that is huge. He's had 3 shots tonight, 2 hits, about 13 minutes of time on ice. He's their number 1 finisher, so him being on the ice is huge for the Minnesota Wild. They lose the faceoff draw, but they're going to redo it here. 10:25 left in the third period. Eric Sneck's out here to take the faceoff draw against, I think that's Mikko Rantanen. And it is Rantanen who wins the draw. Johnston gets it to Robertson to the point, shoots, and it's stopped by Wallstead. Johansson goes after it, as does one of the Stars players, that's Heiskanen. And they are able to get to the point, but it escapes Wyatt Johnston and goes into the neutral zone. Johnson has it to Petrovic, and Petrovic's going to send it back into the neutral zone. Johnston has it again. Johnston to Robertson. Robertson is going to spin around, try and get away from some of the pressure. Shot goes wide. Wallstead plays it, and now Wallstead covers the puck up. But he can't cover it up. The Alice keeps it in. Robertson at the point to Harley. Harley shoots. That puck went wide. Robertson going after it, and some good pressure here from Dallas. But Minnesota's able to get it out, trying to go after it. They don't able to. They're going for a change. 9.5 minutes left in the third period. Dallas has possession in their own zone. Heiskanen has it. Heiskanen to can't keep it in, and now here comes Minnesota. Zuccarello to the point. Faber shoots past the Hughes. Shot. It's tipped. It's in. It's in. The Minnesota Wild have scored. It looks like Ryan Hartman has tipped it in. The Minnesota Wild are up 3-2 with 9.5 to go in the third period, and Minnesota has just blown the roof off of the arena. The Minnesota Wild are up. That might be Hughes' goal. It looks like Hughes is having himself a monster of a game 6. What a goal from Mr. Quinn Hughes, or that might have been deflected in front. Let's see. Puck was kept in by Zuccarello, got to the point. Faber got to Hughes, and Hughes with a shot that, I think it went off of Leah Bushkin and in. Let's see here. This is a little bit better angle. Off of, Leah Bushkin skates and in. Quinn Hughes has his second of the game. I think that's his third point of the game. Minnesota is up 3-2, and it's been all Quinn Hughes in this game for the Minnesota Wild. They are now up 3-2, and they have the possession in the offensive zone, trying to make it 4-2. Hughes, another shot, and it's pinballing around. They keep it in. Dallas does gain possession. 9 minutes left in the third period. Stretch feed for the Dallas Stars, but it's intercepted. And now here comes Minnesota. Dumps a puck on Onger. Trenning keeps it in, and hit by Dallas is going to be able to get them back possession. Here come the Stars, trying to send it in, and they're not able to. Minnesota's got it in the neutral zone. 8.5 left in the third period. And the Minnesota Wild are 8.5 minutes away from sending themselves to the second round for the first time in 12 years. Minnesota has the puck again. Shots, and it just goes wide. Here comes Minnesota. They're going to keep possession below the goal line. Nice passing. Gets a shot away, and Andre's going to glove it down with 8.5 left in the third period, and was now a 3-2 Minnesota Wild lead over the Dallas Stars. Quinn Hughes, 2 goals, 1 assist, a 3-point night, points out all 3 Minnesota Wild goals, and currently single-handedly helping the Minnesota Wild up 3-2 on the Dallas Stars. 8.5 minutes away from ending their second-round playoff drought and going to round 2 to face the Colorado Avalanche. You're not missing anything. We're on a commercial break. I'm just so impressed by what a game Quinn Hughes is having. He came into tonight, I think, with 4 or 5 assists. So he was having himself a pretty solid series. But yeah, Quinn Hughes has been lights out in this game. He's one of the Minnesota Wild guys who knows how to win in the postseason because he was able to do so not last year, but the 2 years ago with the Vancouver Canucks. This is why the Minnesota Wild got him. Hughes is a difference maker. They didn't have Hughes the last time they played the last time they played Dallas, or the last couple of playoff trips they've had. Hughes is a difference maker, and he's going to be able to make you some plays. So great stuff from Quinn Hughes, who is really trying to help Minnesota Wild break this drought. Like I said, I thought that Minnesota was going to be able to take this series, and so far it's looking like this is a possibility. And Quinn Hughes has been a difference maker all night. Having him on that blue line just changes the Minnesota Wild drastically. So we'll see if they're able to hold on to the last 8.5 minutes and wind up sending it to wind up ending the series, or if Dallas is able to get the game tying goal and potentially send this thing to overtime. So we shall see, but what a beautiful goal from Mr. Quinn Hughes. He has been brilliant. Once again, that Oilers-Ducks game should be getting going in the very near future. We're already over here with a commercial timeout right now, so I should change this here to the first period. Let's just really quickly change this here. Hold on a minute here, guys. Let's see. And let's change this to the first period. Okay, yep, they're just getting underway. It looks like puck drop, it says, is about 8:20, so they're about 15 minutes away from puck drop. So that is interesting. Let's move this here. That should be getting going in the very near future. And once again, they're just showing some stuff here for the Dallas Stars and Minnesota Wild game. Once again, you're not missing anything. We're just about to have a face-off. Let's see here. Sorry, everyone. My thing's buffering a little bit. Just give me a second here, guys. Hold on a minute here. My feed's just buffering a little bit. Just give me a second here. Some technical difficulties. 7.5 minutes left in the second period. Let's see. In the third period. Let's see here. Just trying to get this thing going. I apologize. My Wi-Fi is slow. Dallas has the puck in the neutral zone, trying to send it in, and they can't. And Dallas is going to be able to regain possession in the neutral zone. Dallas has it to Heiskanen. Heiskanen sends it up into the neutral zone, and here comes Wyatt Johnston. Johnston coming in, and they're trying to get around them. Dallas trying to get something going here. Rantanen hogging the puck from a couple of Minnesota Wild players. Shoots, puck stopped, Wallstead to the corner. And Minnesota trying to get this puck. There's a couple of board battles right behind Wallstead. Wallstead trying to get something going here. And Boldy can't knock the puck away from Johnston. Johnston gets it to Rantanen. Now they do knock away the puck. Johansson has it, but he's going to lose possession to Robertson. Robertson has it at the point. To a point shot, and that one looks like went wide. Heiskanen has it, 6.5 left in the third period. Dallas trying to get the equalizer after Minnesota gave them the lead. Point shot, and it stopped. It goes wide. Robertson goes after it, and now here comes Matt Duchene with the puck. Duchene to the point, to Robertson, back to Heiskanen. Heiskanen back to Johnston, I think, or Harley, that is. Harley with a shot that's blocked, and Minnesota can't get it out. Boldy now gets it out, and that's a huge clear from the Minnesota Wild. They go quickly for a change as there's 6.5 left here in the third period. Dallas trying to get the equalizer and was now a 3-2 Minnesota lead. Dallas passes it to Ben. Ben gets it, and he loses it. And now Minnesota is able to get possession of the puck, and they can't get the puck out, but now they gain possession. They hit it off the wall, and it is out. Here comes Minnesota, potentially a 3-on-2 break. Foligno's got it in the corner to the other Foligno. Marcus Foligno trying to hit off of a body and can't. Dallas is going to be able to regain possession. Bunting trying to get there, and he can't. 5 minutes left, or 5:45 left in the third period. Minnesota trying to get it out, and they do. And they're also going to reset possession in their own zone. Lindell to his D partner, to another player. It was chipped off of him, so no icing. Bork has it against Hughes, facing off in the Minnesota Wild zone, and Dallas has it below the goal line. Dallas trying to get something going here. A board battle between the Minnesota players and the Dallas players. There's like 4 players or 5 players in this scrum here, and Dallas is able to get a puck out. Bork trying to fight it with Hughes, trying to get that puck out, and Minnesota is able to get the puck for a second. Once again, another board battle. 5 minutes left here in the third period. Wallstead has it, gets it to Faber, and Faber is going to backtrack it to Quinn Hughes. Hughes behind the goal is going to wind up being taken down. I don't think there's a penalty on the play. Rich Scovian gets it, shoots, and I think that one was stopped by Wallstead. Dallas keeps possession. Heiskanen has it. He's got space. Heiskanen walks in, shoots, and that one's blocked, and the Wild do get the puck out. A huge clear there. 4:45 left in the third period, and Minnesota is making a line change. Dallas has the puck. Once again, in the neutral zone. Heiskanen has it. Dumps it in. Dallas trying to look for the equalizer here. Minnesota gets it around the net, and Dallas is going to keep possession. Here comes the Stars. Rantanen across, and they can't keep it in. Riskovian now has it below the goal line, trying to get some sort of passing lane in front. Minnesota players draped all over him. Harley gets it to his D partner, and a shot, and that one goes wide, and Minnesota's going to gain possession of the puck. Here come the Minnesota Wild. So very interesting note there, and this one is going to be, I think there's a penalty on the play or something, or maybe it's offside. Just wait a second here, guys. There might be some sort of a delay of game or a penalty. Let's just see here. I don't know what the stoppage was for. I think it was just offside. Let's see here. They're just showing Nick Foligno's big hit on Leon Bichelle. Yes, Hughes has scored the first goal and the third goal of the game for the Minnesota Wild, and he also has an assist on the second goal. Once again, just showing a big hit from Mikko Rantanen behind the net, and they are going to go to commercial. There's just over, I think, 4 minutes left in the third period, and what has so far been a very entertaining game between the Stars and the Wild. So very interesting to note there. Once again, let's see how this one finishes up. Once again, just over 4 minutes left, and this game is far from over. Dallas is pushing for the equalizer, and Minnesota is trying to get this game across the finish line. Once again, I would love to see Minnesota finally make it to the second round. They have not made it in 12 seasons, so to see them advance to round 2 would be phenomenal. And it would also make my prediction fantastic because I did pick Minnesota in 6 games. So we shall wait and see if that's going to be wind up happening, or if that's not. We shall see. Once again, you're not missing anything. We are in probably the last TV timeout of the third period. So we shall see. Once again, hopefully there's only a third period here and this doesn't go to overtime. But we shall see. Once again, this series has had 2 overtimes before. Game 3 went to overtime, in which Wyatt Johnston went in double overtime. And Game 4 went to overtime. Game 4 went to overtime with the Wild winning thanks to Matthew Boldy. I'm not planning on doing anything for the Ducks game tonight. Like I said, I am planning on doing the Habs Bolts tomorrow. Once again, I am going to be watching it personally, but I'm not doing any sort of live stream on it. I have a couple of videos I need to post, so after the Wild Stars game finishes, I'm probably going to cut off the live stream and then just do another one tomorrow. So I'm probably not going to do anything for Edmonton Anaheim. Maybe stay tuned for a couple of minutes to see how things start out, but I'm probably not going to stay on too much longer after this Minnesota Wild Dallas Stars game finishes up, and who knows, maybe if this one goes to overtime, we're going to be able to keep some tabs on how that Oilers-Ducks game goes. But 4:05 left, third period, just getting back here, as the Minnesota Wild are going to have a neutral zone faceoff draw against Dallas just outside their blue line. Minnesota wins it. Quinn Hughes has it to Brock Faber, and Faber is going to stretch it. Can only get to the neutral zone, but Minnesota does get in the neutral zone and send it in. 3:55 left in the third period. Dallas trying to gain possession again, and they are able to. Here come the Stars. Going to stop up on the neutral zone, and here comes Wyatt Johnston. Johnston sends it into the Dallas Stars zone, into the Minnesota Wild zone. Quinn Hughes gets it, flips it on the boards, and that was going to go out of the zone. And it's going to be just enough for icing. 3.5 left in the third period, and was a 3-2 Minnesota Wild lead. Once again, the Edmonton-Anaheim game should be starting in about 10 minutes. And then tomorrow there's going to be 3 games. You're going to have Montreal-Tampa Game 6, Boston-Buffalo Game 6, and Vegas-Utah Game 6. So those are going to be some very interesting series. Once again, I am planning on doing Montreal-Tampa tomorrow, and then we shall see what happens on Saturday and Sunday. Not going to promise anything, but I might try and do 1 or 2 Game 7s if there are any on Saturday or Sunday. 3.5 minutes left here. Eric's neck in the faceoff draw against, I think that's Wyatt Johnston. Let's see. And once again, Bork bunting on the ice here for the Dallas Stars. Harley's out there too. Let's see here. And the Minnesota Wild are going to lose the faceoff draw. Dallas has the point. trying to shoot for it. Harley does, and it's blocked. Minnesota is able to get the puck, and they get the puck out of the zone. Solid play there from Minnesota, trying to chase after it. Harley is not able to get away from Kaprizov for the time being. 3:20 left in the third period, and Dallas is back in the offensive zone. Shoots, and that's going to be gloved by Jesper Wallstedt. Face off to the left or right of Jesper Wallstedt with 3:16 left in the third period. Still a 3-2 Minnesota Wild lead, trying to end the Dallas Stars. So we shall see how this game finishes up. And once again, that Edmonton Oilers Anaheim Ducks game should start soon. And it looks like Onger is heading to the bench with 3:16 left. The Stars have pulled their goaltender. It's a 6-on-5 attack for Dallas, reminiscent of a power play. So we shall see if the Stars are able to get that game-tying goal, or if the Minnesota Wild can hold on, maybe get an empty netter, an insurance marker. We shall see, but they're just talking about it right now as they've now pulled the goaltender. Dallas against Minnesota. Minnesota trying to end their postseason drought and finish this off here. Dallas trying to send it to a Game 7. Dallas does get it, but goes back into the neutral zone. Heiskanen has to regroup. 3:10 left in the third period. Heiskanen's gone in the neutral zone, passes it back, and Dallas is going to try and enter the zone, and they are. Wallstedt stops up a little bit here. Minnesota is able to chip it along the boards. Another board battle between Dallas and Minnesota. And Dallas is going to not be able to get there. The puck goes down the ice, and Dallas is able to get it back. Robertson, with 2:45 left in his own zone, starts some things up, trying to get the equalizer and trying to save their series. Here comes Heiskanen, or actually that's Johnston, walking through a whole bunch of Minnesota Wild players, gets it in. Middleton's got it, and he is going to chip it along the boards. Cannot get it out, though. Dallas keeps it in for a second. Minnesota now has it, and they are going to get the puck into the neutral zone. Nice play there from Minnesota as they have a board battle again. Johnston has it, takes it in, shoots, stopped by Wallstedt, passes it to Faber, but I think they're going to say that he held on to the puck too long. So there's going to be a face-off to the left or to the right of Jesper Wallstedt with 2:16 left here in the third period, and a Minnesota 3-2 lead right now. Once again, they're just showing the replay. Johnston, a nice shot. Wallstedt kept it, and it looked like he was going to play it, but he decided not to. So face off to the right of Jesper Wallstedt. 2:16 left in the third period. It looks like Dallas is about to take their timeout. So Dallas has taken their timeout. So 30-second timeout for Dallas to try and set something up. 2:16 left in the third period as Minnesota is going to try and get this puck, get this game across the finish line and advance to the second round for the first time in 12 seasons. Once again, 2.5 minutes is still 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Still a lot of time. Anything can happen, but once again, this Dallas Stars coach just wants to get their guys a little bit more rest, as most of their big guys are going to go right back out there. So once again, very interesting out there. It looks like Minnesota's putting all of their bigger, tougher guys out there right now to try and hold on to this lead. They're just talking about some things right now, and that Minnesota barn is buzzing right now. Minnesota trying to get this across the finish line. 2:16 left in the third period, and can Minnesota finally get a playoff win in a series? Wallstedt back in the crease, and they're going back to get the face-off dot here. Dallas trying to send this thing back to overtime. Minnesota trying to send it across the finish line. Face off to the left of Wallstedt, and Dallas does win it. Dallas trying to get it back below the goal line, and they are fighting for it in the corner, Minnesota and Dallas, and Minnesota is able to get there. A nice chip feed, and Minnesota's trying to get there. Maybe Kaprizov again can't get there. Kaprizov has it, trying to get around a couple of Stars players, and the Stars are able to recover. He almost had an identical overtime winner. He almost had an identical empty netter to the Game 5 empty netter, but he was not able to put it in. Dallas has the puck in the offensive zone again, fighting for it in the corner, along with a couple of Minnesota Wild players. And they get it to the point. Dallas trying to get away from Minnesota, and they can't. Breakaway here from Minnesota, and here comes Boldy in. Stars! Empty netter! Minute and a half left. That might be the dagger. Matt Boldy got a breakaway, put it into the empty net, and the Minnesota Wild might be well on their way to facing the Colorado Avalanche in the second round. They are just a few minutes away, and the drought may be over. It might have just happened. The Minnesota Wild might have just made it to the second round. What a statement from Minnesota. A lot of people I was looking at picked Dallas to win that series. Minnesota might have just earned themselves. What an effort from Eric Snick and Boldy to get that puck, and then Boldy just was able to outmuscle Heiskanen, puts it into the empty net, and Minnesota might have just sent themselves to the second round. What a game from the Minnesota Wild. Let's move this to 4 here. Once again, there's still a minute and a half, so it's not over yet, but it could be very close. Once again, Dallas has pulled the goaltender they need to. A minute and 20 seconds left in the third period. Dallas sends it in, and this is going to be, it looks like, a icing call on Dallas. So they're going to have to put the goalie back in the net with just over a minute and 15 seconds left. Once again, they're showing the last time the Minnesota Wild won a playoff round, and that was back in 2015 in the first round. It has been 11 years since the Minnesota Wild have been able to advance in round one. And they are looking like they are about to end it. Los Angeles was not able to this year, but it looks like Minnesota is going to. Once again, we saw Philadelphia last night and the 6-year playoff winning series drought. The last time they won a playoff series was in 2020, so it's been a while since Philadelphia won a playoff series. Now it's looking like Minnesota is going to advance for the first time in a while. A minute and 8 seconds left for Minnesota to try and hold on to this lead. They're just keeping it in the corner. Dallas is able to get the puck back. Minute left in the third period. Andre to the bench. They dump it back into the defensive zone. Wallstead gets it, loops it back around to Middleton. Dallas is not able to keep the line, and that's going to be back into the Dallas zone. 48 seconds left in potentially the game and the Dallas Stars season. Harley dumps it in. Minnesota's got it on the boards. 40 seconds left in the third period. Minnesota's got it, trying to ice this game here. Dallas has it in their own zone, trying to send it to Rantanen, and they do. 30 seconds left in the third period. Rantanen has it. Gets it to Bork. Bork back to Rantanen. Rantanen passes across, shoots, and it looks like that was deflected. Another shot, Wallstead out of his net, but there's too many bodies in front. 20 seconds left in the third period. Minnesota, key on just waiting this game out, sends it the length of the ice, and another empty netter. One from long distance from Brock Faber, who's had himself a series. The Minnesota Wild are about to advance to round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The first time since 2015, and the Minnesota Wild in 6 games are eliminating the Dallas Stars. I thought it could happen. I thought there was a likely chance it could happen. It looks like it will happen. Once again, it wasn't Brock Faber, it was Matt Boldy who sent it the length of the ice. Boldy who got the overtime winner in Game 4 that landed a 2-2 series and spurred the Minnesota Wild to 3 straight victories. Boldy had himself a series. Hughes had himself a game. There's 15 seconds left. This Wild team's advancing. Wow. I cannot believe it. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your Minnesota Wild have ended an 11-year drought of advancing to round 2 in the postseason. They are second round bound, and they are going to be playing the Colorado Avalanche in round 2. What a victory from the Minnesota Wild to take down the 3-time Western Conference Final appearancing Dallas Stars. An insane game from Minnesota and Dallas. What an effort from both these teams. And let's move this here to 5. And let's move this here to final. What an effort from Minnesota. The first time in 11 years, since 2015, the Wild have advanced in from round 1 to round 2. What a statement from Minnesota. Goals, a couple of them from Hughes, including the game winner, and a really good late effort from the Minnesota Wild, with a couple of empty netters, is going to send the Minnesota Wild to a 5-2 victory and their first Stanley Cup second round appearance since 2015. Utter elation in Minnesota. I cannot believe it. I picked the series right. That's my first series I picked right. I picked Avs in 4, it was Avs in 6. I picked Sens in 7, it was Canes in 4. I picked Penguins in 5, it was Flyers in 6. But I picked Wild in 6, and it was Wild in 6. What an effort. The handshake line's there. They're showing the handshake line. And this Minnesota Wild team is going to face the Colorado Avalanche in round 2. What an effort from Minnesota as they are able to get the victory. I cannot believe it. I was hoping this team was able to go far this year and they're at least able to end that long, cursed drought that they had. What a win for the Minnesota Wild. I cannot believe it. Wow. So once again, the two series so far that have played so far, the sixth game, both won in 6 games. Minnesota was up 3-2, they won in six. Philly was up 3-2, they won in six. We'll see if Anaheim can make it 3-3 later tonight. Once again, they're just doing the handshake line, and the Dallas Stars, after being the 3 straight Western Conference Finals, losing to Vegas, then losing to Edmonton, then losing to Edmonton again last year, are now ousted in round one. What a fantastic win from the Minnesota Wild. Definitely. I thank you guys all for tuning in for this live stream. I'll be with you guys for just a couple more minutes and then we'll sign off. Once again, the Minnesota Wild are second round bound. Once again, they're just doing anthems in Anaheim, Edmonton, so they're not starting yet. I'm expecting a solid game from Lucas Dostal after being pulled in the last game, and I expect the Anaheim Ducks to take down the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games. But what a game! Quinn Hughes was all over the place in the early parts. They get a couple of late empty netters from Boldy and from, I think it was Boldy again. I think Boldy got both empty netters. And what a series, what a game. But the Minnesota Wild are advancing to round two to face the Colorado Avalanche. And what a series it will be. I expect that one to be a long one. I've set Avalanche Wild in round two for probably about the past 2 to 3 months. So that one's going to come true. And I think the Wild have a really good shot at taking down the Avalanche. I know a lot of people will probably pick Colorado, but I'm sticking with the President's Trophy curse. No 120-point team in this century has made it past round two, and I think the Wild have the team to take down the Colorado Avalanche. I know they look pretty good against Los Angeles, but that is Los Angeles. That is not Minnesota. So thank you. I do appreciate that, Marshall. I'll see you tomorrow for the Habs Bolts live stream. So I do appreciate that. And I do appreciate you guys all for tuning in. So once again, if you guys want to tune into your guys' other live streams, I'm not doing this, but I will be keeping close tabs on it. Ducks Oilers is just about to begin. So that'll be very interesting out there. Tomorrow I will be having another live stream. It'll be Bolts versus Habs. So that's going to be a very interesting live stream. That will be at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So I hope you guys all tune in. And then, of course, we'll see how many potential Game 7s we have over the weekend. I'm not going to promise any live Game 7 streams. I'm not going to promise anything right now. But I do think I could potentially do 1, maybe 2, so we'll see how things go. But I'm not going to make any promises right now. We don't even know if we're going to have any Game 7s on the weekend, so we shall see. But once again, I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. I'm going to have a couple of more videos, game recaps, fan reactions, and a power ranking coming out after I end this live stream. So I hope you guys all tune in for those ones. And I thank you guys all for tuning in to see the Minnesota Wild advance on home ice to their first second-round appearance since 2015, ending an 11-year drought of not making it out of round one. I thank you guys all for tuning in. I thank you guys all for your support. On your way out, leave a like, leave a subscribe, leave a comment. Tell all your friends. Best hockey content on YouTube is right here at the End to End Hockey channel. I appreciate all of you guys for your support. And I thank you guys all for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys all tomorrow for the Bolts and Habs live stream. I'll see you. Hopefully you guys tune in for a couple of my videos coming out soon. And I can't wait to see you guys all for the next one. God bless all of you guys and all of you beautiful people. I'll see you guys all soon.